chanjo ine myaka 25 aine bukuru John yebare kurgo munso otagire mu byo kushahura aho kwa ensi egumene tujwanzya kandi tutajwangire twasya n'obunaku abantu batutama ita bagira omucaka kora kujya nkubiko mbururu batina babagura orango bagenda konka babashitami hamwe mu maka omu restaurants mu base aho bakubona tamburra abamwe none horani wenda kutera emyasi imwe bekishaka murujeho mutukabize mureke kutujwanzya icyo kubanza abandi ikindi cy'abagamba ngo imwe abaresere General Museveni nimwe mwaturetire bizu General Museveni tito twamuresere tukija hamwe tuyija hamwe ahabigendererwa twahikomu ngoko buterezi butaho mu politics yaterra n'abagenzi be baruga habigendererwa twabigumaho John yebari mutujwangurre mureke gumana mutujwanzi harebe kuntangaza ndukuza kuhendera mbwe oga haruwire twingi ebiru tebi kuntangaza no kutangara abantu kuba beine no kangarana ahagukufa ekintu ekitutaha nakyo ekikutekwa kubaho nikitangarize yoko twanza kurgo mu nsomo rufu ntutine yengi akutukugitina rufu harugamu okuhaba ahariyo bwobahona habaho sitani ntabantu bakutina no kugamba amazima ngo batakafa numuza tino kuzaguma mu nsomo twena nugo muhando tino muntu kuzaguma mu nsomo bukuru ena agamba eyabo John n'abagenzi babo yize nabo mu kishako bashat tino wabinora byamubeje nakugambira batine buryarya bagira ngo yabo uwo mukuru egendwa bwira imwe abanyayuganda mwe numuzo mu makanisa mu makerezi ya mushaba no muzigiti nankai mushabero hanga akagiri hangere embabazi agira abantu ababukuru yaba ryo mu rukinana yaba nshanju yaba nkaga yaba 30 yaba 40 bekunganye ihangeri barukwatirire baba tarukwatirire turyo mu buterezi Hono Miriam Matembe yanagamba kwiyagambe bintemwe mwatere ngaro mukikushana ngo numwikirizana nabyo konkati batahora inzibire bakaja ngo eji ni line ekuratira amazima eji neye bishuba no busakushangakira yaki yamazima ahabwo bwo mureke kutino abo kwana muzakufa nyoni nchimwe ningune yintekwa kufa obwire niwenta kumanya nico ntakutindira kimo kufa Bible na chigamba ninja ati death where is thy sting mureke kuhamukira mu nso ngo abo kwana mutina kufa kandi muri kuza kufa abana Johnny taragira mbyo kushaho ya sewerebwe yagenda izina na kintu kikuru kandi shabiranga tugirire mbabazi tugarcha kintu cha philosophy iha ensiyone y'urukushanga ehamere eno musinge guhamere nebe hamere tabwe nguto tabwe bizimbe tabwe amatungo tabye bya hansi y'itaka no nebe hamere ahabwa philosophy ekugireta ebakwebembeza. We have to have a consensus. What philosophy drives us? A belief that drives us. Beliefs are society emiringo minje nchiriza ya buri chweka yabachika yabe ihanga yabachi uko gihururana no mu mfumu bakugira ngo musheija tahinduka rimi ahinduka kitanda ejo ni philosophy nkuru oshanga harmu enyichiriza ngu chokhemuka ofa hati mpure ngu mugihindwi ngo abantu nibagera ngu chokfa ohemuka ogwenu kubagura umusingi ki gwihanga aho kwihanga ebenyikiriza ndukuheza aje wantize nkoni. I have to demonstrate something. As I end. You know nkoni tinkwenda kutera muntu
mutati na tarabateri nanjo niuka kar general muramusi wawe bonatiye nkoni
murarebereho cyehubo ebyo kibugira kiti ningaki kikurugera abantu enambe nyingi aheri nkiba kitami akantu abajunu baketa ninka wage mbere furukuram wage hata abantu abingi nibene mpinduka kandi batugambira muntu ni mu restaurant mushejogo mumuhindure tukazambya democracy tuzomburu nambwe turiyo tuzombye buru turi hakehu ejininka furukura hata abantu abenji yaba kwikirizamo yaba takwikirizamo baronko bariya ito turunka hata baryoku nibatugambira ito bariya mumwiyo tubabuza kanimo muryoku murujayo mutushanjaha deyo tugerata tindre chehu mwenjura matugembuzi ejo nacho tumukushimanya imwe abakunu nkore kigezi mujuira matugembuzi nikishangu tumukucheba niga tumukuchimanya mugenjure engwe neija nerebo amatu yonera amatugembuzi egira ngo uriyembu neija nekurya mwenjura matugembuzi ranga bebembere abekansa mushabiri hangeri mushakero hanga abagambere cyokora aboke binto kubiri biryo muzambaro ecyara abashabe mutatina mbencho mwakora rohanga ine mitwarizeye yagira ngo umugiro muhanda gumwakwata mutakwate narabo mihande ye tahati ranga bebembe.
Thank you, General Mugisha Muntu. Abantu mwenjura. Before I call the children, General Henry Tumukunde, please. General Henry Tumukunde, that's the incoming MP. Incoming MP, Lukunjiri Municipality.
General Tumukunde.
General Tumukunde, Jura Wajaba.
Kamu gamba jogu. Ano gamba ji.
bakama baitu omuri Yesu n'abedini n'abari aha. Right Honorable Speaker, ow'ekitiinisa Tayebwa sewo wakuhere niwe yanyimire. Omwami Kyagulanyi n'amahega ago nareeba watahamu nago. Naume basewe na banyabo na ba minisita bari aha mukawa bengi ab'enkiti nabareeba abariho tubahereze ekitiinisa bakuru b'amahe. Nyowe kandi munywani wa John tukagamba bingi kandi tukandisharinga bingi. Kakuba okutaza tukanditutaza kumwe, kakuba okuhakanisa nakyo tukaba tukikora, kakuba ebindi byona tukaba tubikora. John Nyonkambugana Rugire Nyakasura akaine ba Hannington na Karuhanga na Benon Biraro enjura noshoti yatuyamba abantu babaziika kabiri mureke tubagambeho enjura yagenda. Abarugire bakabaine culture ya Nyakasura y'omushaija wabo noshota Rtd.Major w'amahe akasigireyo a culture of very disturbing pride. Bakaba bari abantu bakwetekateekaho munonga bakweyikiririzamu as the case can be, and of course John Kazoora was ahead of the table amongst them. Kazoora yije aba student leader emwe mwabishomomu n'ebindi history ye mugimanyi. Nyo kangira ebinagamba erizooba okwanyo nimpamya ngu izooba ritirikwija kubaho emirundi 10 ahakuba n'abantu bagenzire nitukyendera ningira nimureeba omu bishana ebi nk'okugyenda omuntu yabagambira turi bake munonga abarukusharinga history erikushana n'eya John Kazoora in print and form. John Kazoora neitwe nk'okunze yikayangire yanagamba turi abantu bari nibakoropinga omu history y'ediini. Hati nyowe kambagambire weakness y'ediini Bishop. Weakness abaana b'ediini, they develop very disturbing naivety. You will want to study it. You develop very disturbing naivety. Nango omuryankore nibakyeta okutamanya bukuru ekirikumara. Kandi kuba arikwongeramu n'obufuuzi nkanye na John Kazoora, it creates some false sense of independence. Oshanga mbwenu ebintu eby'abandi bakutiina nangore abantu nibakureebera okutangara konka it should support those who have not suffered what we have suffered. The truth is that you develop some of this from being abaana b'abarokore, being abaana b'amafuzi. You develop something that other people don't understand because they don't share it anyway. And because of that, sometimes we are not extremely in line and acquainted with the rules that govern the earth. Ninga abategeki bensi beine ebyabo ebitutarikumanya. Enobumba nimpakana na president wa Uganda, we were exchanging on something. Yaja twiti ono mechizo buchawo tumukunde ntinga sewa tumatoka waga president. Ntebyo. And when I look back indeed, think waga president, maybe what he knows, I may never know. So when John Ogu, I beg that those who didn't understand him very well should base on what I'm saying to understand him better. Kandi, haruhona some cultures, nkeje yakashari, makabe in some kingdom of sorts. It was a kingdom nonetheless. Kandi chine chimushemeye kumanya no kugira ngu it was not developed to all the levels that could reach the challenges of national, it wasn't that there. But for us, what we understood and what we knew best was our own local, authority. And we believed that what we knew was what everybody knew. And we believed that what was at our level was necessary at the national level. So mbwenu, John ijo nkamushanga rwere twashitama twaganira. I worked along with now more kukwebaza kutashwerwa nk'abakazi bandi. Thank you for giving peace to John. John akatagira stress yona akakwikiririzamu kandi okomuhereza chance kweyikiririzamu. Ninjya mutakwije ko ibindi bintu bikure bikukira ebyo omurimo gwawe nk'uko waragene na Ruhanga mpaha gwashikirira mbwene byasigara no korora ry'aba bana n'abawe n'abatari bawe kiwabe nokoraje ukabakukisya muhero. I want to give some small advice to you Ugandans. Yenchakare yanyu is so important, and I think politics is too important to be left politicians. I want you to find enough time and enough space in your brains that you may therefore produce a tomorrow that we managed to produce some many years ago. Ebiro byagenda nibihoye ebyaitu imwe abatokukira abebara abavaibu n'ebindi byona. I want to invite you to look at tomorrow because I think tomorrow is more important than today. Ahandi nitubebaza kwija kuziika John ekitiinisa nk'eki, and I think he deserved it. Imwe batanu mutiino John ndakubahanuza ngu n'omwe kukora ebishikire noziikwa nk'abandi nangwa abakuba nibeeta ab'ebitabo. Mukama amuhereze ekihumure.
Yabara General Mutero Mungaro.
Thank you very much, General Henry Tumukunde, incoming MP, Rukunjiri Municipality. General Sabiti Mzee, on behalf of the UPDF. Meanwhile, the children get ready. They will be followed by Mr. Hannington Karahanga and Naomi, and then the President's representative, Pionto Hendera. General Sabit Mzee, representing the Uganda People's Defense Forces. A big hand clap to him as he arrives.
Abatakambatiye mu Runyankore bashaba.
Orunyankore niza kurugamba naisa kushoma speech mu rujungu nimbivunura. The bereaved family of the late Honorable Major Retired John Bashaija Kazoora, represented by Honorable Kabashara and the children, Arnold and others, the Right Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Tayebwa Thomas, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, especially Tungo and Webiambu, who represent Kashari, the church represented by my Lord the Bishops, Krinomujuni, Onesimus, Asimwe, and Ahimsiwe. Dear mourners, I have a written speech from the Chief of Defense Forces, which I'm going to read. Condolence message on behalf of officers and militants of the UPDF. I forgot the UPDF family in the protocols. On behalf of officers and militants of the UPDF, and on my own behalf, please accept. Please accept our heartfelt condolences at this time of grief following the demise of our comrade RO 144 Major Retired John Bashaija Kazoora, which occurred on 20th April 2025. The UPDF family extends its sympathy and condolences to the departed comrade's family, relatives, and friends. Major retired John Bashaija Kazoora joined the NRA on 30th May 1992. He diligently served his country and NRA/UPDF in both command and staff positions, and served in various capacities, and he rose through ranks/appointments until he retired from active service on 31st January 2005. Beyond his military service, Honorable Kazoora was deployed by the President and served in various capacities, including in Kampala and Kabare as Special District Administrator, SDA, and later as a Member of Parliament for Kashari, a position he held for nearly a decade. Through these roles, he made meaningful contributions across many sectors: education, healthcare, national mobilization. The departed senior officer has therefore been instrumental in restoration of peace and security in the country. The UPDF is saddened by the loss of such a senior and professional cadre whose input was still much needed. Major retired Kazoora was deeply rooted in his culture, full of humor, and upheld values of Ubuntu, our shared humanity. Even when political views diverged, he remained close to his extended Rtd.Major, Kashari, and the general Ugandan family, always respectful to elders and peers, and never missed a chance to show up for community functions, joyful or sorrowful. According to Christian teaching, death is part of a journey, not the end of it. In that journey, we are called to do good, to leave the world better than we found it. He lived to this. We thank God for the good he enabled our brother to do, and pray for forgiveness where may have fallen short, as all humans do. Honorable Kazoora also fulfilled his duties as a husband and a father. Together with his dear wife Naomi, they raised a wonderful family, Arnold and others. During his illness, they were his constant source of love and comfort. Though his life was relatively short, it was without question impactful. The Uganda he helped liberate has made undeniable progress in many areas: peace, economic growth, education, and beyond. We join the family, relatives, and friends to mourn the fallen comrade whom we shall always remember. The Uganda People's Defense Forces, as an institution, has contributed the sum of Uganda shillings 10 million to support the burial expenses, and it is with this officer, Colonel Serugo. Please remember the family. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Signed, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, General Chief of Defense Forces and Senior Presidential Advisor for Special Operations. Thank you for listening. I have the summary of this speech in Runyankore for the wider Toma family, where I belong. Actually, my home is just nearby here. And as various speakers said, this is my home too. I'll write on the previous protocols. Protocols na nazigambire. So, Chief of Defense Forces na Shityokusasara, family ya late Honorable Major Retired John Bashaija Kazoora okuferwa mukameka. Kandi nihanga kuferwa omuntu owahaire amagara ge Rwanda ihanga ngo rutunge obusinge obumwe n'entunguka. Nasima Major Retired John Bashaija Kazoora owatahira amahe omwaka gwa 1982 akiriyo mutsigazi enzira kareju kaine myaka 29 Meja Kazoora kuyarigira umukishaka bahereze kukwata ikicweka ekya burengero wizoba umwebembezi w'ihanga yamutweka kabare birebye kane tamunar kungiri na kisorosore kwebembera mobilization y'ikicweka kuburira engiri ya rwangisereza engiri eyobumwe eyentunguka n'ebindi bwanyuma yaza Kampala kukora emirimo niyemwe nka special district administrator. After that yaisha yajwekera kashari on parliament for close to 10 years kushite myaka 10 nakora abanyakashari na nihanga lyona actually no parliament bakamukuza bamuhuwa commissioner wa parliament akabeine etaranta yo kubuza engiri emukweta mobilization yo kutesa emwe ombichonjo bye akabamanya okugutura okubarata no kutera obuyaga ebe nebintu ebikuru ebirukworeka okuyabeire ari rooted in this culture akabeine obuntu belief in our shared humanity Kazoora no mukristayo abakristayo tubarukutina rufu ahabo kuba ntumanye ngo amagara n'urugendo ntsima rahanga ahabo amagara ga John kandi ntsima rahanga ahabo birungi ebyabasize kumukozesa akiri umagara gensi ntsime kaye especially honorable Kabashara Arnold n'abandi okumukunda okumugumaho mpaka kushitibwarigera umunsi rahanga umugenzi honorable Kazoora amuhe cyumuro kirungi UPDF yagiza miliyoni 10 signed Muhozi Kainerugaba General Chief of Defense Forces mwe bari kumpurikiza.
Thank you, General. Zay.
Yabara General Mutera Mungaro nzakora umbwira kugira ngo twatubwire aho buzike manzi nje mbenu phase 2 hine emure bitazaho and allow me to invite the family I really just nashicha abantu kanyuma bacha bakora kubi kare Karuhanga's family niyo twatwaye ka ofite muri cyawe orajuru birashitiye ko kugira ngo batangwata kubi Leon's family batekateka Karanga's family Leon's family ubwo mutabani wa Honorable Kazoora kana council ni a council of family ji twine Biecha Julius from Fort muyija ndetse muri kimwe ngunda akoresha abantu mu shira mu gurutse yashubira mu kubo aha yondo ate ngugu yondo tumurcha watiriyaho Biecha ngurutse no mureba ryawashitamenye umuntu wenda kumunteza. Then we have Mbara district MPs mbasa kwemerera Mbara district MPs mwena hamwe mbareva yes bana bija twine inganzi yankore family akayigiriza family abaketunga nawe me baketunga na munyanya ko nabareba mu riteje mu cyanyu ni inganzi then baketunga ngugu twine PPF Katonga katembea na timu yawe naona ibo mwije abon Katonga arbati ashoma mugada wena somi byanje mwije mwinamire none Kazoora n'abanywani babo bona bo kwijaha mwinjize family ya Msindo mwije twine Mbara senior citizen mwimuche Dr. Berozo agwe muyuziche na timu ye abana ba PPF nga murekere dachikiyemo abantu bananga then last 3 mureke abantu binamire one bakaza akakora nabo bona arya nabo ndachikiyemo agwe nikatembera naho nayiba muyuziche abantu bagwaza kuga Kampala na salamu sumbano mareba mukabiru kanzia then Dr. Berozo last 3 tunecha honorable Chagurani na hiyo position na ubija neto mchabo please come over and where you are this nope imulindo hawa barjeho you can wait a bit baba bataka stio intoronezachi honorable little yes the rest honorable Chagurani Leader position Senyonyi hamwe na Rubongoya General Secretary na MP Ogo Taiwan na Brighty Agambara district mere mnonga then allow me shome messages that ndio tumwe of course ambater munga fezejo bitar batito mand meya ona kanyo kandi ya speed munchirize ejo chahwa munchirize honorable Namara kurga urbaya arai mache senteze ngotro mshome ezo honorable Namara mpari 10 esimbera wa MP Kashari nawe twakira ubutumwa bwawe uyava kondora sohia Rusheni era na bashasha na honorable kandi basa miliyoni 2 tuna champene turhamwe group basa miliyoni 4 n'imtoma 10 tunaha nito group basa imtwala nanena parliamentary former MPs wona miliyoni 4 then here I have bakwa chomuga mundejo ogwari kumusoma mbwenu nyowe bajeni nomuna kwanta ile speech ya mwana wanje ati echintone tibe twachukume kongo mu Uganda yaba no opposition ya no muri Kashari ya no family ya Rtd.Major Kazoora nyabe natuma mbwenu mbanta wa fero na jaranta na fero n'umutumanya ngashitama no kwescoti ngabesiji niwe antuye kandi mukayanje nkabaye disogo na mwenti ya muziko ku manyazirata ahari ebyona kabukorwa Rtd.Major Kazoora mbwe nashasha tina speech konga chabe nariyo toberi ndio mwe bari munonga ranyu mutero munga kusepu nyon wanje
wewe Mr. Bajeni atbo humwiro the children tukundane Arnold Winnie Albert Carlton Mark, bring the umbrella and the support.
Ninza kubanza kusima abedini ba bishop nana bakama babo ba bishop n'abandi niyasima right Reverend Johnson nasima speaker deputy nasima ba minister nasima abamahe n'abantu bona abija kuzicira amazina tukundane Nicolas Kazoora mutabani w'omugenzi omukuru oweyazire atakagire mu kishaka nyowe kwija kumanya tata nkamanya ndikumuhurra bakungira ngo omuntu ature mu kishaka bishe kishaka kishangwa hekyo mumpe enkoni yanjye nze kuteera ekishaka ahindi mugweraho nahaho kandi aha nyine omushwenkuru yanjye na mawenkuru shwenkuru yaguma nanjye ariyo yija yafa atakijaga mbwenu shwenkuru yanjye akihereze kufa 85 yije omukoma yanyeta kanyonkani maya nimutina ndeyo omuntu ayine rutanga atijo shitamenka avero byanje nageranta nashtamavero ati niwe tukundana bayo ntimbayo ati hey shaya kwato umuhanda gwe yagenda kutwarigiro muri yoru za 96 yaheza kuhamba agaruka hatwagaruka aija antwara Buganda yantwire Buganda yanta makonzi neshangwa mityana bukuyokwe niyabirarwanire kuyantokwe aho nashanga abantu bamumanyoko naje ntomushishizina umbuto bwanje ntokuba kumanya bati weno ejo tshakomaho kinana mshanju yashwera mama Grace owazire akandi ndanodi nasimwe Albert kazi murunji urukunda abantu kandi akatukunda yankunda yakora bakaruhanga hiyamwihire nkahi omunsoma twakuzubwa Didia baba mugambere hati twisha twagera mawitwe naume kabashara yatubera mawe takatshororaga kuko tureba ha mukwari kutwarza twenda chingani kandi tuhabura kore washobiyaha najya kuganda weta ari nkatata nangwe mwiru kanjira ntibishuwe aba bakakwatakana bat abo gabo batura point atwire ariyo muyonjo yahumura ariyo muyonjo kunabire ampesati ye kujigorra akachindo karenga ho kache kakazamuka kabiri jirota akante ezenkito anja tsinkerino atkora aberta sinikire ukareba bire ejoti yajereta uzigareyo wachireba noweta togu okwate sha kwara emwichirizana shaha 5 no bakurenga mweda chikeje na yagenzera mbweno mkigambo cye shaha echo akakinyegesa yanyegesa nobuyojo ekindi kuyabira gambe kigambo we nora yagambire cyatakuhinduka takuhindura kware yaje ateke ni cyeche tigumanyo bani kitwarwa kikuza kumuhindura abo kwa kikachita namwe nakangambira ati koreba omuntu wahinduka akigenderwa cyawe biri enseje torukuje kujibasa tokuje kujibasa kore wagambe eki obe ncho wahambiraho mbwenu akaana atukunda abire n'atukunda nk'oku okukireeba habwokuba buri wiiki buri saabita mu wiikenda akaatubagira atweta nkeeka atubagira ekiwaabiire omushaba naateekwa kukikwa akaafayo okushoma kandi akatushomesa twena hino tarahereze kushoma yafayo yatukora yatwegyesa okunywana nambwenu emikago tugiine omuri ebyo byona habwokuba bwire twine bukye nitwebaza buri muntu weena omu kiti kye okoriire oyambere muzeeyi omu burwire bwe kuruga ahaiguru kuhika ahansi kandi tugaruka tubasiima mwena kureeba ngu mwaruga enshonda zoona z'ensi mwija kugira ta kutuziikiraho omuri ebyo Ruhanga abampeera omukisha reka mbanze mpe n'aba bagire eki bagamba barumuna Honorable Kyagulanyi wija n'amaani mingi omu kashare yiteegi kandi hari ebintu ebinkwenda kukora omu maisho so tinkwija kukwikiriza ngu ogambe habwokuba nareeba abantu oku bakuteerera engaro naki naatiina so onsaasire konka tubeire twagizire ngu habwokuba turubana nyo nkagamba vigil asimwe agambire enyuma z'omu kanisa tukonane yagamba so hariho abantu abinkwenda kweta Matthew Rahuka Bagonza aine message erikuruga owa chairman Rabogo okay. Jukwat You're going to read.
Fellow mourners, ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the members of Parliament and all ministers, the family of the late, I am here to bring you apologies from the Senior Presidential Advisor Special Duties, Roderick Rabogo, who was a dear friend to the family, and he has his message, and I'll ask you to bear with me for a few minutes as I play it.
The Honorable Namu Kabashara, Arnold, your family and your siblings, and all of you, the late John Kazoora's friends. There are names that are now less remembered by young people, but they really read like an honor roll for those who stood with our country at its greatest time of danger. You hear names like Roland Katumbuka, Benon Viraro, Kage, Jet Mwebaze, Mwishamuntu, Henry Tumukunde, Phineas Katrama, Kare Kaihura, El Tumine, Sam Magara, Jim Rezi, Tinyefuza, John Kazoora, and others. These were university graduates in the early 1980s, and some still students at the time, but they made a decision to follow their conscience into trouble. For to find work at the time, to marry, to raise a family, to build a home, was a difficult undertaking in those days. There were three choices life presented to these young men. First, to join an unjust system of the day and gain some temporary benefits as a number of their colleagues did. Second, perhaps to run to exile and find work. And three, to walk into danger with their open eyes. Well, they chose danger. And there's no greater good than someone laying down their life for others, counting their own life not worth unless it stands for something higher than the immediate material gain. So when we look back today, many were young, many were impressionable, and even some of them thought the war would last a few months and they would return to their normal lives. Some actually thought, since they were intellectuals, that they would debate their way into leadership in the bush. Instead, in the bush, they found healing, they found growth, they found maturity from working with the common people. They found an enriching simplicity in being rolled in the mud like all recruits. They took no titles, they had no pecking order, they had no class backgrounds, even if some of these were sons of chiefs and notables where they came from. They found alternative ways to grow. They learned to listen to challenging opinions that disagreed with theirs. In the process, they understood that followership can be as strategic as leadership. For no one matures into leadership unless they learn to bend and listen. These patriots returned to a country wrecked by war, by scarcity, but full of hope and optimism. They were men and women whose lips and minds had been touched by the call of country. They had a new message, a message of justice, a message of forgiveness. They had a new life of restrained public behavior. They had deep respect for civilians. They were all good, rounded leaders, forged in the furnace of adversity. I saw Kazoora for the first time in 1987 as he led the wedding reception ceremonies of General Saleh at Katatumba Hotel in Yakayojo in Barara. As students, we had climbed onto a lorry, a truck, to go to Roharo and later to this reception venue. We were excited. We wanted to see these people who had stood against intimidation, who had stood against harassment, disappearances, and restored security to our towns and villages with little more than a few rifles and siyasa with the population. Kazoora was handsome. He was well-groomed. He was intelligent. He was humorous. He was respectful at this event, which was like a rare gathering of all the key NRA leaders at the time. I had heard about his work as Kampala's special district administrators, they were called at the time. I had heard how he integrated women into the resistance councils and how he shaped these new leaders. Some of these leaders would later be very important people in our country, like one of our former vice presidents. Later, I read about his troubles at the Internal Security Organization. I watched him as a Constituent Assembly delegate for Kashari County. I watched him fight in the CA for what had taken them to the bush, which was to turn a new page in the politics of our country. I saw him in the 6th and 7th Parliament as he and some of his colleagues sadly disagreed with the system and broke away. Now in 2017, I went with him to see the president at Entebbe, and as soon as we were ushered into the president's presence, the president respectfully rose from his seat and walked across the room with an outstretched hand to receive John Kazoora. They shook hands, and I was asked to leave immediately so they could speak privately. In a meeting at Rwachtura a few months prior to this Entebbe session, John had carried a mutual friend of his from the bush, seeking a job for this friend from the president. You could see, even in his discomfort, that John retained a sense of humor, a sense of humanness, the care for others, the profound sense of proportionality, and a good perspective about Uganda's future. You know what? I think he shared these traits with his late mother, who, to my surprise, in her advanced age when I met her, she had a sense of introspection and forthrightness that I had not seen with many women of her age. Even in Kazoora's book, where you meet his raw emotions, there you still find a man truly believing in what he fought for. A man undeterred, a man willing to start all over again if that is what it takes to keep an ideal intact. Many of you perhaps might have noticed this zeal and optimism in his late entrepreneurial spirit, the type of entrepreneurship he adopted when he was already unwell and no longer a young man of the 80s and the 90s. His beautiful, swanky new home with its spectacular views of sunrises over Lake Victoria tells me this man still had more to life. He kept hopeful, he kept building, undeterred by circumstances. So now, you young people who are seeing the last of this heroic, self-sacrificing liberation generation that is leaving us, those of you who see the Pecos-Tesas go, the Rtd.Majors go, these people who survived death by war and disease in the 1990s, what do you carry as lessons into the future? What do you take from John's life? I ask you to take just 2 lessons. First, in a time of crisis for a country, or a business, or a family, there are those who choose to benefit from trouble, but there are those, and there are also those who run away to join naysayers. But then, there are the Johns who choose to not look away. They choose to confront problems. They mobilize others to find solutions. John's life teaches us, to the end, not to look away from injustice, not to look away from indiscipline, not to look away at the degradation of public leadership, not to look away at incompetence. John tells us to confront these issues with wisdom and maturity and not blaming others. I ask you, do not look away. Fight for a better tomorrow. The second lesson I want you to take away is that in a time of transition, the tendency by some in leadership is to focus on material gain and to forget the full dimensionality of life. When people begin to find fulfillment in how big their cars and houses are, or their beauty and vanity, or how fat their jobs and titles are, you see the seeds of a lost generation. John demonstrated to us that there is more to life than this. You can see that. You can see that even without a job, a formal job for more than 25 years, he never lacked in spirit. He never lacked in intellect. He never lacked in hope. He never stopped growing. He was never depressed. Instead, he kept giving his life, his time, and his money to others. Young people, there is more to life than what you have in the bank, or that job you crave for, or the power and weight you throw around against the weak. Please know you are not special. You have only been privileged by God and circumstances. Therefore, live for a higher ideal and serve with dignity. The lower ideals are transitory and helpful. I'll miss John dearly, especially his forthrightness, his penetrative eye on issues, and how he gathered information and how he analyzed it. In short, I'll miss John's process, for it represents a generation that did well for their country. But you know what? I see John every day in Arnold, and therefore I work with Arnold to fulfill what John has left undone for his country. Farewell, John. We thank you for the sacrifices you made for your country. God bless you all. I am Audrey Kwawogo, your friend.
Audrey Katire, milioni 10. It's with my sister Lydia. So, Shazrion's gender. Gonka, it would be very unfair kubura ku sima Uncle Henry Tumkunde. You know, our Shijava, they don't just talk. They have very few friends that could only talk to
perhaps people who could move him, perhaps General Tinyefuza, General Henry Tumukunde, Mugisha Muntu, Brigadier Julius Chanda. Yeah, and General Katurma, but Katurma sort of left us sometime, and John Cham Koraje, but he was one of John's closest friends. So, because Uncle Henry, when Uncle Benon died, his father, Benon Kazoora, he took over me as my godfather. So I knew that I would see that he was weak. So I knew that if I call Uncle Henry, he will do what? He will push him. Because we didn't know that the heart was failing. And Uncle Henry said, let me come. Uncle Henry, if you know him, so he would come. He talks calmly to John. When John, make up to please, John Sharp. And because of that respect and a history like he was telling you that they had in Parliament when Uncle Henry had his issues, the letter when he was resigning, he sent it through Auntie Stella there, who took it to John, who took it to the Speaker for his resignation. So that history, putting it in place and perspective, is how Uncle Henry came in and pushed Daddy to go to Turkey. And Daddy went to Turkey. You basically gave him about another 5 years, Uncle. I'll tell you that. So, they had So, I want to thank most of you who have been with us. Uncle Karhanga, we have talked about it. Dad rested. I was there. He died in his sleep. I was there with him. He didn't need anything. And I can continue here on what Rabogo said when he met the president. They agreed on 2 things. 2 things. I can tell you that. The president told him, when John, Marwa, Kanye Nokorechi, or Kekwansa government. And from 2015, 16, John had not touched alcohol to the time he went. So, of course, there are other things I can't reveal, but I can tell you something. John was not in government, but he was running government in one way or another. You can see when he was in hospital, he's a major, but I can tell you, only generals visited. Koreta, Dinyefuza, Charles Anjina, of course, Tumukunde would come in all the time. He would once tell me, I want a minute-by-minute report, Arnold, on John's condition. My the doctor. That was his what? That was his group. So, want to thank you for being there. I have so many stories I could tell you about what? About Dad. But we don't have time. I'm being pushed by these people. When you masimba mnonga. I don't know if Honorable Chagulani heard me, because I think the mic was down. But Wijanaman, mi Jom Kashar. Kan Kashareji, itawa mwetu inemu, kwa endo misho. So, on Saturday, what Izra Gamba, Gonka Nimanya Mamna Jaku Gamba, we appreciate you, sir. So, Ninjaran behavior. Yes. This is my wife, Whitney, Bashaija Kazoora. We have our son, Alaric Kajuna Kazoora. In one of those names, Alaric, if you Google it, it means something very powerful. It was given to him by the father, by his grandfather. So we're expecting another one you can see. And this is good, yeah? It's good. And we had hoped, we were praying he would what? He would see this, because I don't even know the sex, but he was the only one who knew the sex. You see, they were very close. agambira gatuma kibuze ano lorebe yanakimanya, you know. So I thank you for loving Daddy and being there and being supportive. Mommy, of course, we are being on this journey together. Where you're not, I'm there. Where I'm not, Lydia is there. And a couple of others. But you told Daddy one thing. I will stand by you till the end. Till the end. And you stood by what? You stood by him. Yeah. Maybe indeed we shall add on in time. Maybe John Tokab he was a master class, a rare man. And you can't manage. He would tell you stories of Nyakasura and how he would win bulls defeating the Karhangas in clean nets and whatnot. So I can't come out. Huh? I can't. Okay. We have my young brother here. He was in Canada. He arrived last night. Let him say some.
Thank you. All protocol observed. All protocol observed. Good afternoon. I think I'll start from where Arnold stopped. As Daddy's last born, and in his book, if you've read it, there's a part where he talks about his father's death, that is Grandpa Enoch. He says he was in the bush, and when he received the news, it made him wonder where his last born would be when he passed away. And of course, now we know, but I'll go into how I knew Daddy. Of course, all my life I've grown up, around people of power, and I never really recognized it the way it was. But looking at this crowd, you can see it was really there. You're waking up, you go and brush your teeth, maybe take a shower, and you have Aunt Miria in the room. Now, to many people, Aunt Miria is, big person. Oh, it's Aunt Miria. She's going to speak. Honorable Miria. To me, she was Aunt Miria. She was going to bring me cake, bread, milk, and that's it. And she comes, sits, and talks with Daddy. To me, it was a regular day. You have Honorable Naomi Kabashaira. I call her Mommy. So it's, you go to Rishenyi, and people call her Mama Rishenyi. Yeah, very powerful woman. In her campaign, it was very serious. But to me, she's just Mommy. Daddy, Major, Honorable, retired, writer. And it was a regular day for me. I go with him to Kavira. He plays squash. He used to enjoy playing squash. Of course, he grew older, his legs gave out a little bit. He stopped playing squash. He started swimming. And in the family, we all swim, but not to brag, but I was the best. And so Daddy goes into swimming at Kampala Club, and he wins this trophy. I think it was senior men's champion. And imagine that, he was 60, I think, when he won this. And someone said earlier that he never stopped growing. It was something he kept, doing. He kept going on and on. And I wasn't there at the funeral service, but Albert, Romeo Roy said my piece. It was about character. And from him, I learned so much, and I'm forever grateful. There's some lessons I say thank you to Mommy for taking care of him. Thank you to Lydia for taking care of him. And all those that were part and parcel of his care during his last years. Thank you.
Thank you, children. You may take your seats. Mr. Hannington Kauhanga will come and talk for a very few minutes because the reins are there. And then Aunt Naume will come and speak. And then we'll be through. For the others who is to speak, who is not to speak, there will be some protocol handling, and I'm sure with the guidance of the President's representative, it will all be well.
Protocol twena twajihurira konka Deputy Speaker is Omwizina lya His Excellency the President, so I must acknowledge him as such. Naume Bashaija Kazoora neka yawe bakama banje ba Bishopu abeja kutwatsa mukushendekereza kunogira ngo ndishere atukuningurikibwa konka rushotaha mukabikiriza nibigumizamu nanyi no kwerarikira mbere nyamwazi mbe nagambire azanye jagamba muri nyankore munywani wanje Bashaija mbe mazire nawe emyaka 5 mutumanyana obujuruzi abantu bona bagamba babuhereza hariho kisya cyane kindi kongeraho ninyenda kumusimira omukago okumireho emyaka egiyo na 5 hari izoba na rumwe obuyabera yarahindukire ekyo ni nkimusimira bitare by'omukoro bingi ebiturabiremu nyewe tindi mu politics bingi nkani ndeba ebimwe nibiteganisa abanywani bebingi je no muntu yabgambe konka nanye ningira nka family okuya kigamba tari zona mu bundamwe mukiro ekyo ni nkisimu mbweno emicwe narishenkura abwanje nicyo kintu kikuru munonga agamba byona mbe nabigambire kuko no manya omukuru manjeri no manya omugurusi Enoka Kazoora akari omusirikare akarwana omba 7 King's African Rifles 7th Brigade abana kuyabera taha bonda bazom parade Kazoora taru city yabera takumanya konka manjeri nguko wagira ngo banyina amakana bakazi okutwana twena ndakakira cyanyaka 5 nyanya zaha tera tanyebwa tumukunde yemerera batajyamu neja nyenka ogwa kazarwa newe jeno tumukunde sebo nakwakira utajya kujya tukandi kwishikire kuri yakondigireho so ekindi kusimira John wano manya omukayikuru manjeri abashiza rero arwenga abo banya kwishimira kutoza koko bano manya manjeri toshemire kuba no wene cyo kutekateka ngo John abwe nki cyakana kikora ati nakikora we no mugurusu so ni nkimusimira obutahemuka obutahararuka okugumara hamwe atebekeine great neo kasarina murubanyanya zinu mukimanya webwe wangambira ngo bakagiba niwe mbere nyenda kubanza terera kusasa Peru nyenda kusima nawe kazi okamurwaza okamurinda kokumwaragini mbweno bunaku bwahika mwatano nyenda kusima abana mwena ogujeke Kazoora nare nagamba akabura kanari nyonkandi omwana omu azanye omwazi ekinyebere beine nyenda tuje tuje kitwaganira Roy akandaga nkomwana we akandaga plot naguru imwe abagire naguru ninyi nabantu zenyo na John yatwereza twembi yamuha plot na nyampa plot so nyenda kusimye keji omukago rukundo omukeko wanje yatata will continuously limited in terms of process na results konga kampabura yampana kandi mukize myaka nyenda kusima Winston nabwe ekyo mureke tushendekereze John ebikorwa by'abana mwe mureke tugumize muntu bikora ebyabe nakunda ebyo kwereza abantu ebyamazima lero ntujja kubatwara ekizina lye omukitabo cy'urukwera mukamasimu
Wherever them knowing Mr. Hannington Kazoora, a faithful friend is a strong defense. That was Akweta Honorable Naomi Kabashara, the widow of Honorable Kazoora. Women members of parliament, please come and give her support. Or female members of parliament, please come and give her support. And we pray that the Almighty God continues to give you all the necessary strength and fortitude during these very difficult times.
Ninjara hariyo na former women members nimunanisha bamwe mwije tubeta ba OGs konka njora yatuba kubi Owekitinisa Deputy Speaker kandi owajwekera His Excellency the President Minister Honorable Kaboyi munywani wanje RC ba my lords bishops banywani ba family mwena ba members ba parliament ROP na president wa NUPU abamahe abebembezi ba government abandi ombitindisa byanyu nima mwena abazicha bija kutwasa mukama simwe ni msima mnonga abweri izoba enjura nindeba neija konka mugumisirize ukache abadiyo mukidara muhuname abatari mukidara murondo kuma efitinga tubase kugira bigambo bice ninza kurakusya konka ntakagire hare mureke bantu mwe mbanze nyakire abantu abarga hare na munonga barga rushenyi narabisha binji mwemerere bantu mwe nantunga moyona mwemerere abanyantungamo abarumuna bishop wanje na nabahure na ba deacons bona abantungamo district mwemerere mwena mwebare rukundo mwebare munonga abandi mutakagira ngo tunabafaho konka mazima kikire okwakira abantu abo John nkamanyira turyo mu parliament ninkunda kugambira abamwe butuku banturonda mu Burundi nga bakubuturondera ntumureke kureba hagufu omwe mwe numutunga mwe mukago ri permanent nambwe nkatungo mukago twaba hamwe kandi twija hargamu yaba omushija wanje twageraho no kuzara kandi twisha twafomarizinga okurgo mu kibi twagitwa 2009 katuhindure wa mwanya kace Bisa kugira gutaha kare ninjira enshura ya turabye mako konka mureke turikize tubase gumiza muturakusye John akaba ariyo mushija urukunda kandi arukusapotinga munonga na supportinga politically nangwa nanye nkani msupportinga politically kandi muri yecho aina unique character ninjira nanye nkanye na unique character ngoko mutabano mwe yagamba bikamushobera omunjo omwe kuturumu John na Naume ninjira bine example eyindi kwenda ngu abanyayiganda twena tukope kandi tugendereho tubire supporting na konka wena adyo mu kibine kindi nangwa nkani musese ntati kumanye chorum tabwo kuboka zo muri yecho ryo muri yecho ndweni tena FDC nayo tinkumanye kweli abinji omuntu ko kureba omuntu atari kusupport ayimina ryo mu kibine kindi otinda gamba nawe konka nyewe nkani supporting ayi nareme kindi kusupport kana wari kusupportinga ebye bine bindi ninjira nco mwarebera n'abantu bija bingi nareba Bobi Wine yija mwagira akashashamaro konka nyina ngumbagambire ngo Bobi Wine yija omukitindisa cye nkamemba wa family nememba wa family ata Bobi Wine omukazi we namwiho witu omufamily yitu nangwa na mawe niwe yayemerire babi omukazi we mbwenu yeija munjerejo itwe tukubasa kumwanga no turabeta kumusupportinga ombye konka ntwetegereza ntumusupport omufamily ntumwakira ndanisha kimuzara orukuzara babi niwe yabanza aha omwami Kagaju kandi bishe Kagaju n'umutabani wa muzeyi abo ko akamukwataho no kumushomesa nabwo cyo tukugira ngo Bobi yagire kuba wa nupu itwa ntubasa kumwanga ninga watwanga mwene muko wanje yija nkamuko wanje okunzikiraho kandi naco nkibeje sangu eje cyabagambira ngo muntu nobwo ari abatari wo mukibina cyawe mureke kwangana tebeza story no kubagenzere nambwe no bwari yaho nkahonaho amazina mbe ni mweta mingi mbe ni mweta mutahi wanje neighbor abo kuba omuntu no mukunda nkoko rukunda mutahi wawe nko bibire kutujera mweta kahonaho abo kuba honereho bingi akantebezo kubagiro mu kishaka bakaba bari kubita bari kugenda konka batambirwa sigara abaserikare bobote bakana bakunda sigara kubashikira motoka yibaye bariho ubwo bakabine mune mbundo okwenyuma ababe babatwire babajango hati kuraje cyabor kandi baza kubiruka babatsigaho konka kubabe barimu omo wabera makayi ne paketi ya sigara bakuzitwara mu kishaka hata bajango umuruswayiri baba hasigara wenda mwende bagenda sigare batambira aho nireho bingi no mu kishaka omwe akantebezaho story kubahereze kutandika kukwata ebicweke bimwe nkebe byabasemba bure na za Masaka batandika kweyagara bavuga motoka ya Land Rover bajhamba aha ba prisons kubashiro ko muhanda samu yo musemba bure tikwijiko mwanya babuganaho batiremu bakaba mwoherize kurekinga genocide musaraka mwoherize kurekinga kumanya nahandi yabahine aba mahe I mean aba government ayibari kuyabe na agenda bari muno ndijo akaba wajwire uniform bakaba kwata abantu babiyoza uniform bazijwara omoto ko mwe murandoro bakabine mwe bikompora kubahika bari kurwo kubakumanya ngo ahibara bahatine kiroho ko abantu garuka bari yabatekaho road block mbene kubizire baza kuba bamanya ngo hati bagigwa mubagereba bakaba bamara ko hari 50 omuzeyi babene beta muchokore kana zo mu mbaga boko ko hakahaterire kuba bareba bine za rande mayino munda omotoka ezi babe bamara kukura bamanya ngo hati abakuba rateri sasi rande mayinezo nzibatukana zibahezaho konka nko kwabarka honaho hargamo mserikare omwe yagenda jwire uniform azekeyine ho nyota za ba refnan baikana bamtera sariyuti ababuza tokwe kirikita ngoko ni hano hariyo ngumtasayo ngo barukubi bo batakumangwa abana bona bahekera bajya ngumugarikeyo bakwato muhanda bavuga rando babagarike nyuma babahona batyo so abirekaho naho muringo mwinji mbene ndwara yeji nayo mukama amuhire myanya emyaka minji abirekaho nabo kubakazaho mu intensive care emirunde rukankebiri ogumwe yamaramwe biro 17 konka yija mukama yamwiyayo mbene mukama mwongire myaka omunsi omunku 23 matembe yanyujusyaho nibwo yabandize kuba kubi aho nambwenu naho ndikujangu ninsima institutions zimwe parliament eji tetuyambere hati konka no bwirobwe 23 ekamuyamba munonga imo bantu mwe jone kinda cyarukunda no friendship ninga sho bunywani okubika mukago we mukago ye najibika takuchemara shana yo yaba niyo yamuhemara konka ninsima ruhanga ngo mukago minji nka abana banywinere bari bato nkogo wargagambo mu Huntington Karhanga akamunywana bakiri abana na hati ijo yine kinagambira ntukunogera ngo tikinkani mbasa kutega de ngwinde kiragiye nguntagaruka kukigamba mwe ndiuza kukigamba akaba kandi bakunda na munonga orukwebuzo taba bagamba simu bagera mbwenu kuyarwire friendship no nagirebiri hamwe na nogo mshijo bari kweta Fred baketunga bija no yaguzire tiketi bamutwara Nairobi Karhanga no yashashwire sente zone zo kubanza batakwa admitinjiro Nairobi hospital no banza washashura kano shashura mu dollars yazikwata yazishashura mbwenu friendship ningisima aho munonga kandi okureba ngo kimwongireho emyaka friendship na family okuyakunzire family akakunda nabanywane be nico kimbisizeho okumara emyaka miringwa abo kuba Jonogu arwire shukari kumara emyaka 22 shukari ejo niyerugiremu nebindi nerete bindi bitemberaho ezo intensive care zinkubagambira akazamu ahabwa shukari ejo konko muri ebyo byono mukurwara kwe family eje mbisizeho nyenangu omukurwara nkabanye no kumurwaza nyino kureberera constituency Rushenyi nyino kureberera nyino kuzo mu parliament kana wo kumurebera mbweni nyenangu mbagambere ngo hariho obwo kuzara imwe abarkwanga abana ncenda ngo mumanye okunda abana ko kubakunda to kumanye kikurugamu nabo nyensya bagere kibakorera hariho umwana ogo wabanza gamba Lydia akamureberera rumuto yamushomesa konka Lydia tuberire ekibajo mu family omwana wo mwishiki kureberishe nomukimanya ahumbire nimba ntari Lydia ntwabire nabaro abo kuba mwe Arnold nabaro konka Arnold of course no mwana Lydia so Lydia nienda kusima abo kuba John abenazo mu irwaro emirundi 3 buri week nakasera arikuza dialysis mbenta kubasa koreka parliament omwenkareka kuza mu constituency Lydia benamberaho kandi John abari comfortable nawe amugumaho so echo kikamwongeraho amagara okumwongeraho okugendo misho abwa family okumufaho omungerejo na niba iba ogo bari kweta tofa turije enjora yagwa tinkuza kubaboreka konka ni mangu baruho konka nabo nyenda mu nsimire omushisha kureko mukazuwe akaguma karugo mukaka akazo mukayishe akagumamu na burkanya kija kumwakira nyekiro ari kumutasa tikintu cyo kutwara for granted Ben John akakunda family yakunda abana bamberiro mwebare ogunduhuro wagamba tindu kumanyana bagamba burkanya nababishi bono gokurana behenenga I cannot mention each and every one bitu mazima mukama n'umurunji nabagambiraho okusurvivinga jo no kubakaho naho munonga okumuzeyika yanjire yagamba agama kakutandikira oko kumwareba kuruga kanisa okagiro toketorora wajiro taro family ya majere arwe yakayanjire niyo tukwatana nabaho arwe ya nyindo lya wayife arwe yakatakanya arwe ya mutembeya ejere kuzara babire ba Dr. Mwine n'umanya na bamweswa babafire arho abamacwa arho aba bakatorahi arho abanyakitomu arho abamkoni abo bona bana bakabarumu abajiro mu kishaka bona abo kurutoma ninjereka twara abana barukukira yo mu kishaka bashanga president Museveni nawe kabikanci bujire nyuma nibwo kabari ba UPM kana we ninjira go kushanga yabira ryo muntu wakashari bamukurata kokanye nangumbagambira kumanya ngo John mukama muhire myaka omunsomo bona bono bokuna bagamba no wabirasigireho wega bona bakatwara abana mu cyangwa ngano wabasigire ngo amugongo gone bwana jango zo temba bazi za mukama so hati nawe yagenda ninjira twakomaho konka mukama roho nora tuyire yaba ba genocide tuyino yobinji barijire ba general tachirwa nabandi mbwenu munchirize ngarike ahakusima na nasimire family nasima friendship ba friendship bamutinka bamarayo konka munchiriza bamwe basime ombitwe kabiti mbanza sime institutions parliament nienda kugisima abo kuba niyo twatandikire nayo bari kumutwara mu irwaro konka na hati nombere byona speaker na deputy speaker kwabena habaho okuza aheru abo kwa tumutwire take mirundi 2 ogo kubanza general tumukundo ogu akaplayinga big role no yizera kagera tkonka no John wadorjire na kasero wa marumu intensive kaye biro byona no yetaga second opinion atumweshe sentence uruga itinza uzuronda tahawira ho sande twatebekanisa twaza take kandi omugara hanga take kamongeraho life abo kuba bakabatwire nabagera manyangu covid manyangu niki abo kwa kakwata atakwisya nangwa marwara gamugayenga kumadimitinga ngo covid kandi covid yawiro so ba treating ngo kuba treatingere kutwashikire take bajara bishikonko boba iwe kanogamba za shukari naziya konke chikwita kano mutum nabantu no ntabati ntakurwara mutum ngureka kuba achebire bashanga indeed omutima gwe side emwe kaina itago kushemeza bamushemeza nogundo murundi twagarikayo nabo bamushemeza omwe mukugenda kona parliament teruha sente ba spouse ningashi omwana ninga baro wabo murwaze ningo mukazi nekuhereza iwabo MP okureberera konga aba deputy speaker na speaker ahago kunkunda kandi bakakunda John abo kuba speaker ogu honorable Anita right honorable Anita Mong nakaba nabamweta uncle John ine eshoncho chokufaha abana chokufaha abantu noko muza FDC nabamukunda bandi bamukunda nko muntu nobuza kubeza andi bamukunda ko abo kuba namakureberera abana kabahereza kubatine bacho batine kasente okuba so ababa obona bakana bamweta anko nobwako batiti kungamba titi ito ncho chikubyo chito echa deputy speaker mbeja kuba nabagambira kuyaba mentoring so kumbe ni bagambira ntaza anko wanyu tariki bakwato mushabo bonka abantu bampwera lero kandi institution endije yinkwena ngungambeho ni UPDF imwe ababa mahabu muri kureba mbwende bamanyana na family emwe ko kwatari yogoba wakwatari bona kandi boti bine mwebye byaza pate manyogwa riyo kumanya riki nabamutwara nko wamahe wabo nambwenye nakubagambira ngo bareberire John munonga nabariyo mu system nabatari mu system nambwene hari umushisha bari kweta Dr. Bashasha tikumanya yabariya wenangwa nachikora kaba ari munyanyazi konka bwo kugira ngo no muntu wamahe ajati John takubaza una esente nezimweze za take nezankayi abira takumara bwiri ataresera sente no buri yaho rebe sente account asum Dr. Bashasha hori ni wontu kusima agongoma jeno tumukunde mwamureba haroka no mugume nimpa namureba kwa oko nwe yabanze kwija yari yabatu no atereka tugambira bama ibine taking care kano mugume webare rukundo jeno sabiti okufahari John ari kurugo wanyo kamutwara muka mukuru wawe mazima amayaga mbwenu gino gakundana omuntu wabo tubakumureka General Musimbuzi Doctor General Narweiso oguno mukono gwa buryo gwa President Museveni niza kumugambaho nahika chinkwenda kugamba gwanyamba aba defense ogwe permanent secretary wabo tumukumanya eki yakoze mbwenu kunkurugaho nintekwa kugamba institution endije yahiguru eya President Yoweri Museveni you people mubanze muterero mungana mwena numukimanyaje ngusama hawo mu politics jono gwa kai no kuyabira kushikineho na President Museveni konko gwo mushisha no muntu otarukuja yaba muntu wena owajire omukishaka akarwana nawe akamukwasa General Museveni takumwebwa noba bunku bagambira obwo bukubanza bwa Nairobi no bwa Take no bwa byona abire natwasa kasatunga to wa mugambira natwasa John kuyahereza tukaba nkandi aho ndio mucenge ndukuronde cyo gukora narga omuka nashuma Kampala esimweje njireba ntakujetegereza uriyangira ati nintera kurwo mu Ekero House atirindaho President nandagamba niwe akampumuriza immediately ajati nantakumanya ati nabiho mahuri nkazora firi mbwe nturuni iwe ntukumuriza kandi ntuza kukwatanisa niwe ntwatereba na mama ryaha ati nawahurire mbwe bantumwe mubanye barizi kandi agumire niyitwa munonga nomanya akija hakuzika aha ife wa kuzika Dr. Mwine mzee Mtembe mjenzi Mtembe ya na ifa yaja tubitu owakazora taha yingwego yagambira umwami Kabogorwa ati ntwara yeija mpora yaretwa kuri enyuma yashanga umukikuru manjeri ariyaho ati niyenda kureba akayizire kureba kakamanjeri atahamu umuntu rero kakamanjeri akaba babyama umuyango akaguma byamikaho umusitinguru bamushangamu bashitama baganira mbuza kiriya mbona ngo mukurra John akaba stable ubwa stable n'ubunja kana bwihari nyinogu imwe babe abagamba nawe ndombanya kuyabere atanse y'ibwamba mbona kakamanjeri mzee yamureba kwamara kuzashire eshaha mujataza president atibona no kumbuza bitu waheza atabo kubanya bashaho bakangira ngo namara kurya mbyame atimena nyenda kubyama ejo president ayizere kutayayira abantu numabaronda ngo uri ati kai nakwateba hasa jumu kwaji mahabwanyi mamtabana chimanya ngo yamuheba hasa amteresu atikabangira shingu bakwesente hato ryo mgiga ati mweno borwire tukarejo ni wotoza hero karaguza kawabwine sente ati mweniwe atayana ruga kuzikashi abiratari America atejo wakugira ngo kuza hero no cerano never that kind of talk bakabine ubuntu bwabo kandi agwa staboni na John mwe byabira gamba na umanya ebumwe akababarya omuka mba mwini bachimuterera nkesimu bambuza honorable na umeshi ariyo bitiwe mbona hati mbona shorai then yaho mukatindu kanje tindu kumanya haro gwe bitushita mukaho tingmahari onashi kawabya makari omukatindu namanyiso muchenje kawabya makari nago maheru shina umekwa kushakasha ngota kuntera obwe shitamyaho mani then abana baje aha muheruka shi dobakaza Kongo ndiyaho shitami ajya kumwa mugambira umwana haruwabira kunda kumugambira ubundi shenkazi amjati gendoze kuronda shenkazi yawe abuzire abo kubebire bitinkwitegereza hari mbwe kandi obo mugambira nshitami yaho arikumugera ngo umuzire so mbwenu nibyo style ye kandi nuko abirari omunsi na nabagambire ngo kukunda apart from okunda family n'abanywani be akaba nakundishwe melodi yari bakweta Nyakasura asa Nyakasura ejo ninjiro kugikunde kamwegesa binji mbwe nimwe abantu mwe ntukora konko muntu ncena ngo gere character aza character ninga shokukura kwawe no kwegesibwa family yawe garuko kwegesibwa na no mwishomeromo amashomero marungi gine kigaru kwegesa byo no gwaine okuyabire arniti kubo muyonjo na no kuba smart konka kugamba kwe angera ngo akabiha Nyakasura begesa ekebegesa no kurya mbe ningambira abantu mu All Saints Church ntomwe no bumwe kutukuba turiyo mu parliament omwe turunkameza turukurya omwereba kandi ubu turiya revo ya member parliament konka timu imwe baryaha timu za kubagaba oreba umuntu ko ari kukwata bijiko oreba ko ari kutebyo kuri yo mukano oreba ko ari kugamba nenge ebe jone ko yababa ryaha nangwe n'ababana bino bisaza kama wano gamba oyinoko kushitama mezo inoko kuja so ninjira binja kabiha Nyakasuraho kandi hamwe na kakamanjeri okumushomesa kakamanjeri akabashomesa binja bingambira okukame mbuzi bakajinywa amate bakarya amapapari bakagatera nkebyo so bimuhereza akagira ati uko kuro kunkunyeraha amisho atotakagira ngo nicatene atena amategemsi na no kurya epapari bya kakamanjeri nkoko mwana we yagamba enkiyitwa kagitera agarika jerebo no kugorora toyine kutamwe chindi ibiri ushango umuntu agorire isato rucindo rutandikiroko akabwamba akaba nanyamba munonga noma abashiija bingi na munonga abashiija b'abanyankore haza mu nsasiro kugamba eki nona ng'ozaaho omukazi akurondere socks akurondere pajama akurondere engiito konka nyoka amagambire nyonka ndiyo mukama we naamara kwerondera sokisi akazimakinga n'engiito akazimakinga n'empare n'esaati okamushanga ryaho nangwa n'omwe n'omushanga nanye nanga ate ekyo kiwajwara niwe kiye mwetu kandi obo ari omushiija. That was him. So nakyo kikanyambaho ekyo kyanyakasura akaba nakunda ekanisa munonga kandi ari kugihaningira ari kakamanjeri akunda ekanisa agaruka akunda n'abakugyebembera nambwe n'izooba riyarebere Bishop Johnson yaba Bishop John akashemererwa. Bishop Johnson na mukuru we ombuzare so kuyatungire yabaje konka besides akaba anywana ekanisa kandi agikorera abo kakamanje najati twatakorire kanisa kakamanjeri takwija kuza kufaje Archbishop Rombi akana mkunda nko muntu mwareba Bishop Onesimus obwari awakija na Bishop Rombi kurugobwe bajiro mkwano abire na stayayira even akata kabire na reverend nawe kuyatunjiro gwa Bishop Nyabara akashemererwa immediately yasindika za message mbwenu niyenda kusima na munonga aho nsimbe wakati okureba ngu neimwe mazima mwamuyihura mwebare ba Bishop manyamare bahari akiriza mukuru wawe Bishop Johnson ngwaije ninjawe takumanya nguna Bishop Onesimus na waliya Bishop wanje ayinokutaho emikono Bishop Nathan ayimsibwe na nomukazi we mwebare okutukunda mwebare munonga okuyihura John okukunda ekanisa mu bantu mwe mukunde kanisa n'abarukuna bekerezia mukunde kerezia harimu bingi kandi bahumuriza abo kubebire byo nebitwe staro ekanisa beryaha akidikoni witatarugireho kandi noreba nanye ninjikunda nambwe nicyo warebera abo witubona bahure nabakidikoni wanje rukuntwara rugaramana waryaha mwebare munonga. John akaba nakunda politics akana akunda politics munonga nambwe n'ubwo wagire kufa abire ainamani akichere nanya anti ninsankanjere mbe ntakutekereza ngo ebyarabiremu naija kuraka kugenda atyo konka ijo kunabendyaho aha Easter yenyini tukagamba hamwe mukasheshe shayibiri mbire kunkuba ndyoko politics zanje muterero mukasheshe na no mwazi so mukasheshe nkamuterera yantebeza ndikunda ngwantebeze ebyarabiremu yantebeza orwa mukaga okuyasibire na katusha bogu munywano we no mukazi we na family na Romeo banyenzaki akasibana ekyo kinani mbagambire kya family akakwa aba my sister akateka ebyo kulya ya leta nabana bona bakana bangu tindi orwa mukaga mwene care full house so munyantikane ntebeza ntibyaba bita na wadiyo mbye kandi amanyangu nubwo arabe nashasha konka nyine gukora ki constituency so abe nagira that interest abuze mbona kunamburiza ati banzo ntebeze nyewe ntakakutebizi abanza amanye atakangambire ebyebi so nuko okunda politics ze politics akano mukimanyangu abakashara kabebembera aha aho ningamba ngo akaba nakunda ekintu echo kusocializing ninga sho kushemererwa na no kuba generous okuhereza nambwe nabakashari ninjira mukamisinga mukache konka nimanya ngo abandi obundi mukoro muringo gwani konko we buri ebrabir na mushanvu kikakiri nkekiraje buri mwaka kashare jiyone kabe kubuka eija nicyo tuje nkaba MPs aba bagira batekera bari abanywa nubogo John abakashari kandi bibyabe nakora akatabikora politics zonka konka mahura n'aba bana akaba batwara abana na hatabe nabatwara mu Kampala ninjira wone wari kumanya ubwanya burungi bwono bwo kuriramo kandi kwari kumana atwarayo na nabantu nababugana friends abana okushemererwa nonsasireho enjura nayo yaritamwe bizumu nabagambiraho icyo kukunda amazima mu bantu amazima agana marungi kandi Bible negagamba ngo ogira amazima gari yakwindura owedembe Jona be nakunda gamba amazima nango mwe amazima agani kunda gambira ngo gashara nk'izina ryanje konkabire nagagamba kandi icya politics ekindi ecyanyebayo ekinkwenda ngo nkibagambire na necyo kugira character unique numureba omuntu ko rukugitwa nondijo kiroho tradition ningashi karucyaro bakikargo mu Bible bakikarga inanye tinyetegereza konko mukazi no hindura izina ryawe oyete ryo mushije tukahona ariho warigire kumbuza ati bitwa bashara ubwo Kazoora akata kumanya Kazoora kabashara nabaro ni oyinizine rindi kaninde bakoshire kone namya ntizina ryanje na naume kabashara ntkonka hino mushijo unashwirwe uba ari kweta Kazoora konga ninjira bingi bona numukunda kurizi na naume kabashara okumanya ngwa kana supportinga politically ninga shina no kunkunda kandi akaba libro tuketegerezana akangira taza izo barutwagito akangira tizina ryawe orugumye naume kabashara so mbwe nabamwe bakuranye tena naume kabashara kandi Kazoora ari umutakagira ngwitabwa cyateyita rya Kazoora akarindekera abo kuba akana manyangu omufamere yitu tataninya yayetse rizineryo tinkuriye yetabwe yeta ndizina ryanje kugira ngo neri atata so naco ninkimusimira abo kuba kacindekera konkecho nchirujira omukarakta eyabira yine nyowe nawe omushwere bituka majinga je ninjira abo kuba abyo kugira amazima abatakunyerarikira nanye ntakumwerarikira nazo mzapate zokwe nanye ninzo mbyanje oba nayangana naba NRM nyowe bye tibine kibi kugira ki kandi tugaraka tutura omunjwemwe mbwenu yimusima munchirize nimwe bantumwe natwaro gwire buringwa nimwe mbasime munonga konka sime akensho deputy speaker na ba members ba parliament abija kunkwatiraho na munonga bamwe barira hananye abamwe tukaguma Kampala hamwe konka nabandi nombareba okubija kandi nsimba na munonga abarga ntungamo na Rushenyi mazima abantu abo mongere mubanterere omungaro. His Excellency mazima nimwebaza ogundo murundi kandi mpamya namuza kuntwara obutuma Deputy Speaker omungambirire ngumazima ninsima munonga. Hariho abantu abansindikire za message kandi tinkubasa kubura kubagambaho bakunja bakabire banyine konka tibija nka Honorable Nasasra nawe nashashamu. Honorable no manyito tuine politics nungi owitu Rushenyeje. Honorable Rukutana anyoherize message yananda kuija kuzika konkerizo bano mangu nwadyo mushango ogwa katana nwa kandi yajangu birukurusho nimoyaza nkemerera nawe konka turije ntwambaje kandi ntwatanisa abuko no mangu numuramu wanje no kuba muramu wanje kandi nangwa na arundi ijo oriyo na yetsimba na nyoko nibamweta jona numuhumuzi mentakagambire nawe konga na resi muyija nawe yanyohereza message ati no turabe turukurita nokwe konga kandi tune kwatanisa nawe yampa message. Mbwenu ndikuza kuhendera ariho message eyargo wa Prime Minister kandi hamwe na pate yitu nabayo ninja bwanyuma koikereza Honorable Wanyeto ajigambe konkimwe bantu mwe Jonogu ansijire abatsigaza abamwareba mpirirwe nkaniye nabende mu mukazi nyenga omubyabo bashija bona nahirwa anodi yanyo mugabashe kiyandetera yo wini wino mukazi wo gwalya omwareba abana aba bantu mwe bamberira abana bamberira tabakunteza nsubo tabakunteganza konka ninja nchurujira nanyo kuna abakwasire aza nango echo ninyenda ngungambire abantu kace tugere ka resoni yuwaba abana wabashango muka orumukishebo ka wabashanjere mu kikunda risiba ukabura kukunda abana nje dera abantu kaza kubituro minji nigo nyense to kumanyora akutunde nyense to kumanyora agireki ati John yargaho mbwena babana twatutine numujarangu nibabitatu biri kushoba konga nyoni manyangu tutwina shonga nabataka tunjire maka tukine ntujja ko bija gatunga shanora atarukwenda bamberira abana barungi kandi ko kubagamba ati kubashorora bo kuba tata tarakinye gise na mawe aho kandi ito mukatu kakora harimo abakurira muto kubasa kumanya ngwaba tubarazirwa mawe so ncho nabagambira ho rukukurira ninjira naho nahamataringa mwe barebana mwe kandi mbashaba ngutugume twatanise haza kungambi mwe timwe mwenka Jonda in a bigger family ababana abarukwija ni binji bona barya so nyena kubaraganisa ngo tuzaguma kumwe twatanise kandi abanywana ba John nimbashaba ngo mutandigaho tutariganaho tugume tora hamwe twatanise mbwena ninjira ngo munchirize Honorable Wanyoto ogambe ho speech ejo konka kuri cyanki basika wano yanjura hona bantu mwe ba leaders aba no abantu bareba ribingi ncyunda gomeze rizo batinkumanya oba watine enamba yaba mpango kuguma no yanjura ba leaders n'abantu benda ngo banjure ngo nibenda kuchikoraho mazima nkibakirungi abo kubano ba leaders babantu ababona bantu mwe bare kwijo munambete mpango mwe bare okunkunda mwe bare okunda John mwe nahimu yiha mukama abenu we yabagaruraho kandi ninshaba John mazima okozere byokozere omunsi omukandi obukozere wayekunda wakunda banyu wankunda mbwenu omugisha ukija bantu abo kuba wahurira Andrew kamera ho yagamba niye namushaba gamba even on behalf of my family aboko nuko tukwatanisa kurno jangu abana nkabita family ya kamera ho tinkubire ni ngamba nabo family ya kamera ho nababire ni shenkuru wabana abo wabe Nazaro Mugenzi Grace mbwen John atubikozere hamwe twakundana twagira nakureberera Ruhanga akikozere nango kintu cyanyebe cyanyebaho kandi kimpikire gamba iki yagumire nantura kubaye batere simu agumana ati ogutaro akazo mukushaba turo mukushaba atura ukwe tinkumanya konka mwe no kushaba kwanje nkangumanya mushabera ngo ayo arokoke nakikora herze kurugo mwirwaro take nagira ntiniza twatunga timu ikaneza kuza Israel kandi mangu negenda kushaba yabene ibemberwa kanoni shimanya namanya ngo ko hariyo kushaba kwa mani twamujana na kanje nantumukuruzana naho na rebosego nogu no mcyara we narabariyaha twagenda twaza Israel mazima John kutwashire gezese mani ihayo yarokoka kandi munsasere no shananye na ushikamante na bakological konka kuyarokokere kurugobwa kanjira ngo nayenda ngo atunge peace nayenda ngo akora obusinge na buri omwe kandi mazima omuryo kuno kurwara kwe no kujya ki John peace abira jini akaba ari umuntu arukundo omwe kutazataza yagira ki yakwangaho kwanjira kimwe agera atago kandi agambira konga ganjira tabo bona ariho no umwe abiyabiraje kunda kundufa ogwatarigamba hagambo konga kwahereza yanje ati mwene ibyo byona mbyihireyo ahubwo kuba I want peace with everyone kandi kwe aferiro mbusinje because he just slept off ukaba kante resmu nagambira abana ntimwirkange mzena kasero abana kasero babiyire nabatukorera buri kimwe cyona nabadokita mbaterera aho nawo bayohereza ambulance but unfortunately kubaze ambulance itakashiraho John akayagoje gira tara struggle injire taragire rest in peace John.
Thank you very much Honorable Naomi Kabasharira. Amazina ni Lydia Wanyoto Mutende ni Ndugambale mu nsozi za Elgon. Olunyankole ni Ndumanya konka injura yija yatwara olunyankole rona muzikirize ngambo luzungu. But Bishop, thank you so much for coming to honor Uncle John and Naomi and the children. I have 2 written messages which I'm going to hand over to the family, and that's why I was honored to be given this microphone. Right Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the President, we welcome you to Rutoma. For us, we've been coming here eating meat and enjoying. We are so happy to see many of you coming today to honor Uncle John. The first message I have is from the Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda. She sends you Naomi her condolences in Nabana, and she gave me a written message which I'm going to hand over to you, and with cash of 2 million shillings. Albert MC Ezonzine, I had you asking, Tizin, I have the cash with me. The second message, which I'm also going to hand over to you, is from the NRM party headquarters. I am the national chairperson of the NRM Women's League, and therefore a member of the Central Executive Committee. I think this is the first time the NRM party is having the microphone. It looks like red. I wish I'd had a yellow one, but it's all right. We bring you condolences from the NRM party headquarters. I have a written message signed by the Secretary General, Right Honorable Todrong. He also gave me cash, which I have, of 3 million shillings. I want to thank the people of Ntungamo. I come from Mbale, the Twin Ente. The only rich person in Mbale has only 1 cow. They tie a rope in the neck. They give it breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Because those are the rich people in my area. Thank you for supporting Naomi. I am the leader of women of NRM Uganda Yona. But Naume is one of the very few I have who are members of parliament on the constituency. So now we are, even if we are burying Uncle John today, it's not a day for politics. Mumunkwase, mumpereza karuru, so that I can also be proud that I have a member of parliament who is a lady on the constituency. I want to hand over finally the microphone, giving witness. Let me face the bishops. In truth, it was August 2001. I was campaigning to join the East African Parliament. Cabinet of Uganda, the one which they brought for us, they passed a resolution in the cabinet that if you're not 45 years, you do not go to the East African Parliament. That resolution was brought by the Vice President. Then it was tabled in the House, it's unanswered, and it was passed. I was not 45 years old. So technically, I had been knocked out. But the treaty, Article 50 of the African Community says to be a member of the South African Parliament, you just have to be a member, you must qualify to be a member of the National Parliament. So we began a legal battle, a political and legal battle to remove the resolution of Parliament so that I qualify, because I was not 55 years. By the way, I served in the South African Parliament for 10 years and I left before I was 45 years. But it is this gentleman here, Honorable John Kazoora, that led the people to undo a decision of Parliament so that I can be a candidate. This gentleman here, Right Honorable Speaker, John did it because he was a parliamentary commissioner. Leadership goes beyond titles. This man did not know me. I come from Umbari. He lifted a resolution of Parliament so that I qualify to be a candidate. That was not the first hurdle. The second hurdle, after I passed that one, because of the youngest candidate, we were 99 candidates. They wanted 9 positions. The last one, my seconder was Honorable Salam Musumba. I brought Salam Musumba with me today to give this testimony. Salam Musumba was supposed to be my seconder and nominator when we had done signatures so that you qualify for nominations to go to campaign before members of parliament. On the day I was going to be nominated, Salam Musumba gave birth. She gave birth, then she called and said, me, I'm in the labor ward, get another nominator. If you've been to parliament and you're a candidate, you know what I'm talking about before we lay this great man helping a small girl from the mountains. So what do? Uncle John called one of the members of parliament. I gave that fellow my original certificates. I went to school. I'm an old girl of Gayaza High School, Makerere University. I gave my original documents to that gentleman, a member of parliament. I gave him my signatures, original, to get a signature nominated by Benny Watcher at that time. Ekule Park, Miriam Matembe, Sarah Chinji. I saw Uncle Paulo here, the husband. Those were your names that gave you space in Uganda. They had given me their signatures. The honorable MP we gave to replace Salam Musumba on the day of my nomination disappeared. Disappeared with my file, with my papers, and my nomination. To get Watcher's signature, I had to go and interview. Ekule Park interviewed me. Cecilia Ogwal interviewed me. All these people, even Amanya Mshega already joined the secretary, the East African community. I had to be interviewed by Amanya Mshega whether I could represent the young people of Uganda. Now that list disappeared. This gentleman we are laying to rest today walked to Tandikwire's office. Tandikwire was a clerk then, and said, nominate this girl, whether she has papers or no papers. I was nominated without a file of signatures, without a file of my academic papers. When we did that and they had closed nominations on that day, Honorable John Kazoora had the phone contact of the wife of the Member of Parliament who had disappeared with my file. He called that lady and sent his driver. Those of you remember Honorable Kazoora, he had the old model Pajero. That driver I've never forgotten, he serves at Parliament up to today. He drove, I know you are coming, but I'm concluding. He drove to the home of that Member of Parliament, picked my file, and today I'm called Honorable John Kazoora. I got back my file. The MP came to Uncle John that his phone, there was no battery at home. The car had a problem with whatever, but God is there. I've come to honor a great man. May God rest his soul in eternal peace.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honorable Alice Kaboyo, please come and welcome the President's representative. No speech, just to officially welcome him. And the President's representative is going to speak at that microphone on the other side. We apologize for the delay. This is a barrier of politicians.
Umurimo gwampegwa numuche tinkuza korabo mu protocol mu kweta representative wa president kunkanta kakwetsere sebo nanye John akari munyanyazi ahabwa Hannington ahabwa Chaka abantu abarigira umuchaka nangwa akwataka kwatene na Grace kabanza yakwatana na murumuna wanje akandi bamweta Stella Kachara mpora abari kumanya John n'umumanyangu akabanza bakwatanaho Grace atakizire mu kishani Arnold n'umunywani wa Stefan umutabani wanje from childhood. So nanye nturo mkomu naume numuramukazi wanje munyanya kana shwera mukuru wanje naume nkamshanga bwera nyanji numunywani wa family yitu munonga numunywani wanje munonga kandi muhagera kumuruntungamo. So nanye ninshasha bwerizo bani mbasasira banamwe teine emyaka y'omuntu ashikire kushikahungu n'ikirungi ngwishafi terho nobwakuba nagendesa amaju yakuzire buri muntu nayetenga ishi. So nimbasasira ninkusasira nawe nka munywani wanje tanganisha gumane imwe mwaza kukora hati kandi muri abana bakuru. So tene kishoyumwe habashikize mwino mugisha abo kuba abandi abana tubarabasize kureba beshibu kusyaga magingo ngwene Arnold ninkusasira na mukuru wawe na barumuna bawe kama nesha gumane mwine naume mwine abanyabusare ba Mirya nabandi nitwe turho mwana mtwetenga kama itasimwe mnonga John irhanga kwereze cyumuro kirungi mbwenu kantwara umugishogu kweta Deputy Speaker Right Honorable Titi kama simu.
Honorable Naomi kabasharira hamwe na n'abana bawe habika ya Honorable Rtd.Major John Kazoora tatitwe umukristo hamwe na n'abanyadini mwena Honorable Ministers abaryaha leader wa opposition mu parliamenti w'urubajoro kwa kanisa kandi mugenzi wanje Honorable Joel Senyonyi abakuru b'ebibina abaryaha Jeno Mugisha Muntu wa Ant the Honorable Chaguranyi wa NUP Secretary General wa PRU Omami Honorable Kabanda David hamwe na timu yawe abagenzi banje mwena abantu bakuru mu mahe bakirinje bitu abantu mwena mu bitinisa byanyu mwenu ntakashomera ubutumwa bwa president habo kugira ngo again ja also njekire na speaker wa parliament Mnyanyazi Anet among right honorable kandi twine ba MPs ba ankoro kututwaza amnonga twatuferirwe omuntu witi ya ferirwe kandi chairman witi Honorable Basil Bataringa ya okututwaza constituency MP na ya njura ba MPs abisha kandi ahereza n'amazika agitu kuba twarundana so kanshabe hona bitungo ijo nkorerecho omudakika bakomuzindaro obanjure yes mwenu baza kwa mwine byanyu konkanite twino kututwaza mu mitwarize yitu nka parliament so please korecho shoma list ya ba MP kandi na namazika gabo ogahereze Naume tinkwenda speech
webare wechitinisa Deputy Speaker abanyakasharika twaro umwanya ogu kwakira abantu abiri mu ngaro ninza twasa wechitinisa wampereza omugisha gwo kusoma abantu abijaha abo kubanga parliamenti mutawitwa kugira ekizibu twena twirukanga kugira ngo twabanawe mwena yino kugambira twine bamemba ba parliamenti abahika habija kwasa mutawite Naume bamemba ba parliamenti abiri na babiri abahika omwanya ogwo ahabwa rekodi okubanza n'owechitinisa Basil Bataringa ya narugo munotho gunumanya mwachiri
kandi ogwe nwe chairman witu wa Ankwere Parliamentary Caucus
we chairperson wa Ankwere Parliamentary Caucus nwa coordinating wa kabiri ni Professor Mushemeza na wali aho mwachiri Honorable Naume Kibazo owashema na wo mwachiri wechitinisa Benjamin Kamukama ntungamo niwemerera bakwachire Dorothy Nyakato Kitagwena emerani bakwachire wechitinisa Pauline Kemirembe owarga Antonde emerani bakwachire wechitinisa Kamateneti Jazrin from ntungamo emerani bakwachire Jeni bino mugishaona rebo mnyibanda emerera bakwachire Honorable Bagasha Juliet bashisha mitoma emerera bakwachire Honorable Katsime Anet Mugisha Bushenyi yemerani bakwachire Wechitinisa Honorable Segona Medad Rubega and your dear wife mwemerera bachire Now just briefly Honorable Medad ni chairperson wa Kosase akachika ka accountability kandi ochitinisa Naume ni member wakachika so yazwekera akachiko aka parliament chairman wabare kuisha twino chitinisa honorable Francis Muhiche owa Buhwezu ogonumanya nene ibaria twine owechitinisa Ephraim Miraro nawe narga Buhwezu nawe mwachire twine owechitinisa Nathan Byanyima ogunarga Bukanga nawe mwachire twine owechitinisa Kireya Mugumya nawe narga Bukanga omuchara mwachire arada isingiro twine owechitinisa Jocelyn Amongini ogunajwekera East Africa kana manyori nyankore Jacqueline mumwachire na warya twine owechitinisa Yona Musinguzi narga Ntungamo na Moyenata Hamum mwachire twine owechitinisa warga kutahamu owechitinisa Kabanda honarebo imuka niba kwachire twine owechitinisa honayo Margaret Robyambu ariyaha naza kubana washa no mwachire twine owechitinisa Joel Senyonyi kandi ogo leader opposition on parliament na mwachire echo kubanza ekina ni nsomera mazina na accountability natakwenda mjengu yabihe namba ninyira mwana mbara echa kabiri nka parliament omuntu kwakuferwa tuwerundana tumusondera mbwenu ba members abaryaha nabanda bataryaha na deputy speaker mu abo kujanga na unu member wako kasi twarundana milioni twaturindine milioni 18 ne mtwaro 80 bana Margaret yagitaho milioni 1 za mtwaro milioni 19 ne mtwaro 80 omuriezi 19 na nyine mbire ntiraho milioni akwankoro mbitingire nkamemba sebo chitinisa webare kunkiriza accountability
yongera he mitwaro nkagazibe milioni 2 utakahe bitega
na yongera he mitwaro nkaga konka ahabo burungi bwakazone binabira binawe omwango nje mitwaro nkaga nabaherezente mwije mujakire ekavaringe ebyona webare munonga mwenti mwari akamware babageni mwechezibu omweni turaukaku nara mwaterra abantu mungaro mwashemerwa ati mwani muza kuziterra ba so mwebare munonga mbwenu tinkwenda twara obwire buringwa hone bonaume president abire yakuterire simu kandi yagambire niwe ebinji yabikugambire echa kabiri obutuma bwe yabuteko mu buhandike so mbwenu mu buhandike ninza kubushoma konga ntakabushomire kamanze nakusa kushasha kwa speaker wa parliament kandi wakushyireho muka kandi bire na yeta honorable John Anko ite twena honorable John Kazoora akatkwataho nkabantu tiwe wenka general muntu honorable Saramu bona bakatkwataho kandi ntusima munonga hinaitwa arugire titukahebwa tutakijire okoke ituri nitusima ekibatukorire kandi na hati nimpamya twena nyotinka omwe ntuzaha twakana ndonde kitukwakana kimburira okwa twena nitumanya prize ni Uganda nunji konko muhanda nigo gugwire konko shanga mwayenda kwitana ati yantugira ngu turi Kampala tuzembara omwaka jatkatu abire Masaka ondija twabire Mubende ni mutonganira ki ekikuru time rahike so ninyenda kutwara ogo mugisha nishabe abantu bitu bakuru abarwanira mu kishaka nanko John mwemerere nabeshengereza muri bakirinju konka nani mbashaba mwemerere munkwase terra abantu mungaro munonga kamba shabe mushtama ekyatuma nagambe eki
cyaruga mu bigambo bijeno umuntu yagamba kugira ngo nabugana abantu bamwe batandika ngwimwe ngo mukareteki mwareteki atandika kugira rubanje nga itwa bamwe nkanta kazirwe ibyo mubirimo nkanta kazirwe konka tukagira umugisha mwahandika ibinte bimwe bihandikirwe twabishoma nyowe nindeba ngo ntabasa kubaho obutikirizanga nabimwe konka habikuru mu kiryamuramo habwaki okunashomire bakaba bangira ngo okota kubasa kwereza speech nkeje no muntu yahereza ukarwo kataho wa ukaguma okota kubasa kugamba ebihona yo matembe yagamba okataho wawe okabyama okamanya unoza kujya cyaciro na family nibyo nkushoma konka hati no bigamba orengaho no kurengaho otaho byama omanya ngo family yawe teine buzibu so nyoni cyo nkureba ngo icyo nicyo cyabeze mweno obujeno yanajati ati kutukwika omukaruru turondamo mu box bibura ekikububuza ntabwo businge bw'abantu bine umwabagambire ngo bakabatime nicyo nicyo nkuranka kikuru then hariho ibindi na nitwe twenkanangwa nicyo rukura tukuzo mu nkiko kugira ngo tubanze twayikirizangana abo kwahine bitukubatiikiriza ingine okay abantu babiri shona muryagumana mwikirizangana nga konkana no mukuburo kutikirizangana okwe ekikoro murango gukirayo no gwihangere ihangere so nyoni nshaba ngu amisho tugume tugatira kirabo kandi kirabo ne cya Uganda eyo mishe nungi kandi nyoni ngira nti weno ribugana abantu bagira umushaka bakarwana bakacungura erihanga okajya ngo mwakora busha niwe uri kuba wagamba busha ekindi no kushaba ninshaba ngu imwe abantu abakuru namunonga barebereje nako mugume mugambe hamwe mugume musyane bitekateko nko kutuijaha habo kwa Uncle John nimpamya nchakabye nayenda abwachi 2011 ninya natire bishani bya John Kazoora Honorable na nebishani bya Naomi Honorable ninya nabitire umuchoma cyanje owijire kubyakira ni Honorable John Kazoora John Kazoora kija yayakire bishani bya FDC yabipakira hamutwe yayakire bya NRM bya Naume yabipakira yagenda yaronda karurukana umo wa NRM ariko ena ngo asinge ona hino kajya ngo John akata kwena ngo Naume asinge konkana we yaronda keye aka FDC ariko ena ngo agereki na wasinge abo kwekikuru ereri hanganira hango harime bishenge byingi twena nitwikama ekikuru no kushabirana tukaremwa kucwerera nembanja twatandika kucwerera nembanja eri hanga kaniriza kujumara bana ba mawonyo ninshaba nicyo nkuba ninshaba burizoba ntari bugana umwami cyagura nyinka mucwero rubanja atari mbugana kancwero rundi kureka amisho tugateka ariki ahihanga then ebe bindi nigija kurugama so nimba shaba okugamba twita umuzimu gugamba tigwita numanye kireho abebe bimukugamba nimba shaba tugume turikirizane kandi tukunde tumanye ngu ereri hangane ryitkonke kikukirayo tumanye ngu ereri hanga ekinte kikukirayo mwihanga ryona n'obusinge wabo takumanye cyo businge kikumanyisa gendo yambuko rebe empunje ziriyo nizijo mwihangere hati Uganda hituri hobwe nitwaro businge heru abakurwa mu ntaro Kongo abakurwa mu ntaro Sudan abakurwa mu ntaro Somali bona nibija kuronda kasinja konka no manya ekintu otakakifeerirwe tokumanya eki kikumanyisa so mwenu shaba abantu bakashari muhamira businge muhamira musinge gw'obusinge habwokuba Honorable John nigwe yarwanirire tinkwenda kurengaho aho president ayina obutumwa bweye mu buhandike ijo nkagambaho nawe tukagambaho ebintu bya Rutoma hariho ishomero rya Rutoma kunu eri yaraganise inebi yaraganise akagira ngo mbikuratiriza kandi mwene bwakintiro ninza kubikuratiriza nje ndebe ngo ibyo bintu byakire na munonga basi yanyu ninza kurangu cyakuratura. To the family of the Bashaija President, to the family of the late Honorable Rtd.Major John Kazoora, condolence message. I was saddened to learn of the passing on of Honorable John Kazoora, the former Member of Parliament for Kashari County and a freedom fighter who was part of the armed struggle that liberated Uganda from the brink of state collapse in 1986. On behalf of the government, on behalf of the NRM party, and on my own behalf, I extend heartfelt condolences to Honorable Naomi Kabasharira and the children upon the loss of your family head. Mama Janet and I stand with you in prayer at this trying moment. The late John Kazoora joined the NRA fighters in the bush after writing his final university exams in 1982. His decision to join the pro-people struggle against bad leadership and contribution to its triumph is proof of his heroism and patriotism. After the victory of 1986, he served in a number of positions, including representing the people of Kashari County in Parliament. Therefore, I salute him for all his sacrifices to usher freedom and socio-economic transformation in Uganda. Although at some point he left the NRM and opted to join the opposition, we kept communicating with him and tried to persuade him and others to return. In life, it is normal for people to disagree. However, it does not mean that you become enemies and stop talking to each other. If you don't talk to the people with whom you disagree, how will you convince them to join your side? It is on account of the NRM's reconciliatory approach and strong emphasis on the broader interests of the people that we have managed to achieve the peace and stability of Uganda. The people's interests are very clear. The people want peace and stability, good roads, schools, hospitals, markets for their products, etc. These interests are bigger than any differences that may arise along the way. Finally, I pray that the Almighty God grants the family the fortitude and courage to go through this moment of grief. The late John Kazoora has departed from our midst after rendering distinguished service to his country. You should be proud of his legacy and carry on his good works. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, 24th of April 2025. Nimuza kunchiriza nsamarizing mukache abantu bitu abakubasa kwa batahura rujungu. President yasima omukuru John Kazoora kandi yashoborora ku John Kazoora yagire wena na bagenzi beye bamushangira mu kishaka umwaka gwa 1982 ubwo yaruga kore bigezo byeye Makerere a University. Yagira ngo okushara mu kwa John kuija kurwanisa obutegeki bubi na nebi yakozera mu kishaka nicyoreka obumanzi bwe na nokunda kwihanga kwe. Yagira ngo omwaka gwa 1986 ubwo baheza kuhamba government John akakora emirimo myinjo mu government harimo okujwekera ecyangeke yamusima habwe biyakorira ihanga nanone ko yarabiremo ari kuranira ihanga. Yagira ngo nubwo ari abatarikiriza nawe ahagataho John akabasigaho akazo mu rubajo rukwakanisa bakagumiza muri bagamba habwo kuba ebi John yabirakorira ihanga akaba nayenda ngo amushabe agaruke aje atandike gukora nawe. Yaje ati omumagara genseje tikigwira abantu kutikirizangana. Yaje ati konka okutikirizangana kikumanyisa mubabazigu mutakagaruka kugamba kumwe. Yaje ngo wotagambire nabo takwikirizangana nabo noja kugamba noha kandi nibija kora bataniwe. Yaje ngo abwecho NRM nicho iyo ehururu yayo na netwaza yayo neyo kuguma negamba nabo abakwikirizangana nayo na nabatakwikirizangana nayo. Kandi yagira ngo habwecho echo kugamba na buryo omwe nicho kitumire government ya NRM yagumeresireho obusinge n'obutebekana omwihangeri. Yajangu kandi ecyari kumanya abantu imwe kimukwenda kukirayo n'obusinge hamwe na no kubakorera. Kandi yagira ngo ebyo wodyo mwebembeza rubyo tireho muramu then ebe byo kutikirizangana n'omuntu nyabuntu tikikuru aho mushome kugumizamu mukagamba. Yasima John kandi yamwendeze cyumuro kirungi. Kandi president ntakagambira amazika giyampa nahura nakwatwaho abo kwa kunahura mama wanje Miriam Matembe yaje ati mukatunaga kuri nahura chansasa konka ninjiro mu kugamba no manyo umwe no banonda kugamba ndije atakwenda kugamba ni okugamba ni kwenda abantu babiri. Honorable Miriam ninjira inko president yagamba mugambi kandi nice byagate byo kujya muti mukabigambo hebyihana kabitari by'abantu nyabuntu mwene myaka yanyu kamutache basana life naho kunoja uninye ndi kujya ntomera no mu disco ngo tukavuga no mu disco twajaki nyoni injira ni kikuru ninza kugaruza yo butumwa bumugire ntimuzeyi gambana n'aba bantu maybe hino kubakorera bihanga iri kutwazibwa okuba takwikirizangana niwe bahurikirize oroko obuhabuzi bwabo cyecho konka then hati baheza nimwe mije bagambe nimwe abo kwa NRM tiyo yabingire miliyo mu bwa MP nimwe mwaka mwimire so mureke kutwera mushango abantu bakuno abo kwa akanga kwesimba NRM so yabura kwija fraga yitu onashiweza twahiro ndijo konka ekikuru ninjira nicyenda ngo abantu abakuru bakirinju na munonga ebebo hine bintu bikuru ebinkwetaga muganire itwa abana bato tiriyo ntubegera konka ntubasima habwa service imwahire rihanga kandi imukugumza mune muhereza. President ni manya hino butumwa na no buyambo bundo bwabire yahire konka yangira tinka kusindika ukagenda engaro zirimo busha yampereza miliyoni 10 ngo nazo zongera byabire yahire ziyamba mukuzika. Honorable John onkweta anko mbire nagambira kuyanyambire ninja kujya kire ubundi bwire ntubiganiraho mukama akwereze cyumuro kirungi.
Thank you very much, Brother Mnonga, our President. Ekansa, thousand apologies. Mutsasre. We have so many messages, but we shan't read them. Former members of parliament who are not recognized in the interim, you can stand up. Former members of parliament before hand over to the church as the president's representative hands over the president's donation to the family. Former members of parliament, thank you very much. Church, over to you.
Kama simwe MC ukatumutiru mungaro ya tuebemberaje munonga nobwo ibintu byabiri bingi kandi tusimira hanga abo kutereza ensya mukama simwe. Mukama simwe by Road Bishop ba Bishop bona baryaha rw'icyo rwa president awishemwe nawume neka yawe and Venerable Reverend Turia Singura Steven akiriko nabo arutomba akiriko nare intwara umucyago kubakira mwena umuzina rya mukama we tukunda kandi ninja kora umurimo muke munonga ahabwe shaha okugira abakyabona kumurikira ahabwe kanisa yoturamu kandi John yakorire aha tuyineho aba church choir ya Rtoma kwaya nungi munonga na church weddings muhubiraho abantu nabo mamanye ngo muryaha naika okubakwasa tuyineho enyomyo z'obureberezi abo kwa baryaha plus mwebare twabakira mwebare kujya tuyineho lay canons abo kwa baryaha ni imwe ntubakira nke kanisa umwanya gw'itogu kandi n'ababuriza baryaha aho muri Kanwevu kama simwe nkirize aha twatuyineho Mothers Union coordinator ahabwa ubureberezi bwa nkore Oweshemu Julian kana aba Mothers mwe n'abaryaha n'abafathers ntubakira mu izina rya Mukama waitu nko kunagira ngo nza kucwe kanisa ninja kushaba barisa baryaha mwena twemerere tube cherirwe ahabwe nshonga tukareba okuzika nokukira kutwara obwire buringwa munonga okukira munonga wano ziko omuntu mukuru nkogu twashanga ngo wahindura programu woyina okuzika nkoku noza kushanga emirimo endijo yo kuza kukora utagikora bwe twagira ngo kirabasike tubanze twohereze timu rero tukore n'endijo mirimo nimwe tuje tubashangisereze kandi abo kubimwe mutwaro bwire buringwa namwe nitwe tukuza kurenga dakika 15 tukukira kukikora kwiyaho kugira ngo kandi kiriya cyaba cyango hariho n'aba bishop abandi naye ndambaze ishoborecho akuba mbasa kwebuza kandi bishop ari nkayi nabanze isingiro mbwene cyo cyaho kandi wari umugishogo kubakira mwena ombureberezi bwankore kandi muri Kasharomu mwebare kwijo mbwinji nko kumwija mwebare eki cyayoreka ningira owishe mogu ogenzire ecyari kumanyisa mbwene kashabe ba bishops mwije rero nabo babasyo obutumwa nabagira ngo imo mwakonsesha nkitano itwe ntukosa kenda kikanki 15 rero hatezo zarabaretera mwirukanga mwagenda ni mwene mba mutaba serious kanye tena vika jeno owambara ogunazwekera Archbishop Lambert Beino Mugisha na wari ya Rengoro nabwo echo nayo kaije abenwe abanza abenwe abanza chaplain orete ka sanitizer hifi abenwe yabaza kubasyaho message ya Archbishop kandi yebare munonga kwija gumire twatanisa n'ekintu kikuru kandi kirungi
konka ubutumwa bwe yabureta nabureta tikumanya ba MC tubabushoma konka ho narebo nawe umenuje kubureba yakwanisha nakusasubwa hamweneka yawe ebitwareba nebitwahuriraha omugenzi abirayi n'obuntu omuntu obwe umuretira abantu kukumwija kandi abinji nimanya mwija nebintu mukama ahimbisubwe amuhumuze umusinji
kanya chire Bishop Johnson no mwana mukomo nabwo echo kabe niwe yakurataho rero koraseho Bishop ahimbisubwe katugenda mu protocol tokuzimanya protocol ni gereza beta takashavya
kama simwe Wechtin Sam Rechero President ntakagire hare nikushaba nkeka otukizeho kusima omwiraka ryaitu neryawe aha mukuru president abo kutuzikira kandi tiyaziika hatu wonka n'okureberera n'okubangira owamukwatiza orugamba ekyo nikitaho esira ekya kabiri iwe wenka nk'omuntu ninkusiima habw'ebintu bibiri ekyokubanza noruga omu area eyindimu bishopu konka okunkwata obuheereza omu kanisa omu mashomero mukama ruhanga kwijuki ekyo iwe nk'omuntu tinyine bwire bw'okubizamu ruhanga akwijuke ekya kabiri ekyo ndikusiimira n'ebigambo ebi wagamba kandi nyosire ninkureeba ebigambo ebi wagamba aha ebitarimu bias nibyoreka omutwe gurikukora gye n'omutima gw'obwebembezi watwombeka ekya kabiri aha muheru nikusiima my brother Bishop Sheldon okwija n'abanywani bawe abakandi banje mukaija kutuhumuriza manya nanye n'obundi omureberezi konka nfereirwe mbwenu nimpurira bitari gye yebare munonga okwija kutuhumuriza nkeka abareberezi aba mbateerera omu ngaro hamwe na Vicar General ekyamuheru muramu wanje Honorable Naumbe okureberera murumuna wanje ogu okagaruka okabumbatira abaana aba oteinemu mbutuka okabakiikira boona n'abakurugira omunda n'abarigira omunda yondi ori omukazi ohuriire ruhanga kuheereza omugisha twosire tukuteireho eriisho kandi twakihamya nkarugaha nashitama na murumuna wanje John omunju twaba yangambira ebyaheru n'omunda nkozarwa nawe ninkusiima kikazi kandi gumizamu abaana aba ekyokozire tikiryeba ekyamuheru John abaire atari murumuna wanje kombuzare nubwo arabe nankize emyaka konka tata kuyagire kurugaho John yaba omuha abantu bashatu abo yansigire ngo bagume nibampabura mbwenu numfererwe menta nambwenu kunagire Western Kole akagenda nshagariire nahate kibayo tandugaho niyanda ngunkoreke naume ngu generals banje akidikonize n'abandi bantu beija mwemerera abarga Western Kole abarya kamutene bwira nko kutugira ababona na kidikonizi bazwekera abantu bengi kandi haro n'omukazi wanje nambwero bagira ngo Bishop ngo reka tukubangire muramu wanje twakuretera akantu ko kwiha obusasa amaisho ogure mwente miliyoni 4 nyono mukazi wanje n'abashaija abo mukama kuhangaze mugarikireyo n'obusinge mukamwita gumene imwe
Barotoko niyejo agushaza agenda ejo kubanza namumeka abashaya na family nkasaba uthankore twine obutumwa obutwahandika kandi obutumwa obwe nja kubukwasa ekya kabiri ogambira okurya rubaju otunomanya mission yawe mubuze tunomanya mission yawe. Do you know your mission? Ask somebody besides you, do you know your mission? Are you doing your mission? Each mission done rightly, you live majestically and victoriously. Each mission has a reason, but at the same time has a season. So, mission, reason, season. Irakusima Ruhanga ukora mission irahanga yatereze buri muntu. Konkanye ndakubashaba ecyamuhiru. Kuterba twarje mu ry'ebyona. Echesha ngo njangu when the saints marching in. Or when the saints go marching in. Or when the saints go marching in, will you be among the number? Ebyona kutuba twabirjiremu. Abarukwera bambatambura nibesima. Orabo barumu, mubuze torabo barumu. Buze kuryaro torabo barumu. Ati njeche shongoro, ekina kwasijira. Yeri tugumuzimo. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, Lord, I want to be among the number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. You cannot be among the saints when you have not accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and personal Savior. Bwe buza kuryarwe torajundwe. Mubuza torajundwe. Makama agumenimwe.
Onesimus Esimwe, Mlebezi wa North Kigezi Neija nanyi n'abantu bake, please stand. Harimu na General Tumukunde. Niwemerera, very good. John akaba munywani wanje munonga kandi Honorable Naomi Yachigamba kandi munywani wa Archbishop Henry Lukorombi kandi wanshaba ngumbayisiho kusasa abokuferwa Honorable John akandeto mukaha ndino mchara wanje. Honorable Naomi was away. Konkaya jati nyenda kurambuze nju yantwara no mucenge cye ekitanda cye kitazire atecho no chikorera munywani wawe at kandi koli banora bahansaha oija bakutemera bitocho bitware muri twaferwa munywani weitu munonga kandi mbendeho aheru yihanga yatera ariko ndonda tiyambona yatera umucyara yamujya ati mweno ugambira mami wawe Bishop nguni mwanga abuko bakanyanga ati ni mwanga atkaniza ugambira ngo muntu twena ntuzakufa kandi namazima man umuntu omwe akagira ati man is an acronym for morning, afternoon and night. So bamwe turi mu kasheshe kamagara gaitu abandi mwihangwe abandi bwagire kwira konke chikuru wafa noza he akwe myanya nebiri mweru tsima ruhanga kugira ngo yazo mwiguru kandi twina amasiko ngo turi yamushangayo nko bureberezi twareto butumwa bwo kusasira bwa emitwaro 50 mukamasimwe
chaplain wanje yagira ngo turiyo mudakika nk'ikumi nabwo icyo twasigaza yo nk'itanu ikindakore no kubashomera omushorongo rero message yitu ogitware hariya iyo mureberezi kandi rero tugendere ikigambo cya Ruhanga okuhendera byona Akoriso ya kabiri eshura ya katano mushorongo gumwe konkataka gushomere abarebereza bamwe bijana bakazi babo mama Lilian Emera Lilian Imbisubwe na mama Joy mama Joy obwire bwabo bukurakana bwecho abishe mwe bakabire babanjura konka mwe bare kwija kutwasa nanye kunkwasa nkomurebereza wankore kano kwasa Johnson kandi Johnson akatubikira twine group yitu ya bishops kandi bakataho message nyingi so ekigambo kya Ruhanga Abakoriso ya 2 eshura ya 5 omushoro gumwe nitumanya ngu enju yitu eyorusisira eyitutuuramu omunseegi enju yitu eyorusisira omuntu yakugira ngu ori orusisira tumanyirire enju za permanent ez'amabaare ibanda oku hariyo omushaija akombeka enju yo n'ey'amabaare tarimu matafari muzeyi kibeherera ayine emyaka nk'igana n'ena n'omurokore aba barokore bakare babandize stone house konka even that one will not leave the test of time enju yitu yorusisira ona wamanya ngo ori yorusisira nobasa kwanga ondiijo muntu wamanya ngo omubiri gwawe n'orusisira nobasa kugira obwangani n'itima n'oburogi orukumanya ngu omubiri gwawe n'orusisira nyenche kare noba otariho otarigira ibanja n'omuntu weena kureka erya rukundo Abaroma 13 ogwa 8 mwebare message yabeere aha eyinashangaho yabeere nungi erikwegyesa ngu tukundane tukwatanise bamwe muri itwe tukuzire kunkugamba ngu nkuzire Professor Kamuntu asheka abo kuba wali mu myaka mingi nyona ase myaka 62 konka nanye bindebere ebinashangireho na UPC time ya UPC ready nkanyine ba anko banje ukota kubasa kumuhera mu kintu kya ekirimu kala endijo yona kitari kya red na kikutera umutwe red hat red no jironda no gishangahe hakahaba ho DP ekiro eruho konkeri nketaro eruho konkeri nketakozereke ebyo bintu byense nibusha ombiro gorusisira ebyo butegeki nibiyija birugaho Yesu ni watakuhinduka embina tubizemu nambwe nico tutashemere kwanganira abo kubanyensya tokumanya wo kuza kubugana naho rambugane hino wagambaho echempunji nyonyi nobureberezi buri mwempunji manya Sudani manya Ethiopia manya Kenya manya Rwanda actually haro twashangaye n'aba Kenya Rwanda manya Burundi manya Congo hariho n'ubusobundi ne mahanga kamwenda nyokumba nindeba abantu bari mu buzahe ebimotoka omwene obano zisingiro orebe motoka byarabaho biri mwempunji ebasika nki 15 oreba abantu ochizomu omumpunji kuriya oreba abantu bashobire binenaku the closest I've ever come to a student in England I never wanted even to stay there because kuzomu ihangeri tari yawo kareba abantu kuba kureba kareba kuba kugaya oshomere ori ya PhD kunko umuntu akureba utari mu ihangari yawe muruwane murebe cengu twagira obusinge no kundana no kwatanisa mutwere ebyo byo kwangana ebyo kwenda kuitana tugira obusinge n'obuteka ombere gwitu n'orusisira konka ekikuru munonga muheru na wachetegerize yachakira ombere gwitu gw'orusisira kugurishenywa tuine chombeko body made in heaven ekiruga haruhanga enjo yo mwiguru etombekirwe mikono ebiro nebiro waiza kwakira Yesu nkabishe mu kubagamba nibo rukutunga omberogo ogutombekirwe mukono oguri urugumaho to eternity mukama baho mukishabe mukama ruhango bushoborozi bwona yebare abo mwana wawo ogu kureba ngo amuheru ko mukazi wo kuyana muhero bujurizi akija yakwehereza yariba ngo ebyensi byona no muyaga no mushenyi ebyone biturumu nebyakanya bwanya ababire bari abagiga obutuba ntukura hatu no barunda babura ababire bari aboro hatu nabagiga omashomera gitu ashomiremu ababire bari amuhogo hatu no bakurye nyama ababire bari nyama hatu no bari amuhogo ebintu nibihinduke byensi otwere tukundane twatanise tutakayangana tombeki ihangeri izina lyawe rwumize mu ruhimbisubwa Kristo mukama witu obusinge bwa ruhango burengero kwetegeza ko muntu wena burinde mituma yanyu kandi n'obwenge bwanyu mugume mu manyarahanga kandi mukunda no mwana wa Yesu Kristo mukama witu omugisha gwa ruhango bushoborozi bwona tateitwe no mwana no moyo rukwera gumirimo mwena hati nebero byona twagenda tuta
kama wita simwe mureke twakire ikigambo cya Ruhanga tusimo murebere muterera umungaro munonga abo kuba yatuhumuriza mbwenu twahika hamuherwa byona ntujya kutwara umbiri gwa munywano weitu ombutaho bwago ntujya kwebemberwa abacacikwaya na n'abahereza bwanyuma hazeho abine bode ze n'abafamily bakurateho n'abacabara abase kwikayo ntujya kuraba umwanya ugu ntuzaye ruguru niyo turi kwija twarumbiri kandi abo kwa barimo kwikayo kwe ntubendeze ugarukayo je mwebare munonga kamasimu abakwaya ikeshongoro
mwebare kwayo kugenda mu jyana gendanga muntiye twino muzunu Patrick yana gendanga muntiye
cyeshongoro kigana 22
naruga Kacinga Rubare Rwemyaga endanga muntu deno bibaho picho ndijo eptia biba ptia ya chama numwe kambi namba yu ero igana na mukaga v na epchi bazibiraha orare mutajina mkwati mebere mnonga endanga muntu ana pabanganya na waji ya msaji mperezi pabanganya gumiraha ugajina mperezi endanga muntu yatu n'umuzuni Patrick National ID for Benuzuni Patrick. Please, you can come for it. Benuzuni Patrick.
Should we move fast? Should we go? Where is Mama Naomi? Hey.